Okay. So, P.S. I Loathe You. This one was good. I read this one in 2 days. This is by far the messiest, of these books. Like, Jesus Christ. I deemed, Invasion of the Boy Snatchers the one with the most psychological damage. And, Revenge of the Wannabes and Best Friends for Never for what Massey does and makes the other girls do to, Alicia. But it's Alicia and Massey are equals. So it's a little bit better. A little bit, just a teensy better than the abuse suffered at the hands of all the girls except for Claire by Massey. But we will get into it. This one was really good. It was a quick read. I would say, oh god, there it is. I would say by far the ugliest cover. So I loved this book. This is book 10 for our season, for a series, video 11. And I loved It's Not Easy Being Mean. I ate that shit up like candy. This one was really good. And Dollar L for Loser is a great precursor for that. Didn't love Sealed with a Disc because it was like watching a car crash in slow motion. Where this is also a car crash in slow motion, but it's internal. I have some diagrams. So, let's read the back of the book and then I guess I can. PPS IHEARTU. When the Pretty Committee deems its boy fast null and void, boy fever sweeps through BOCD. What better way to backhand spring into new crush Dempsey's heart and make old crush Darrington jealous than cheer for him on the soccer field? And just like that, Massey forms BOCD's first ever cheerleading squad. But will Massey still have something to cheer about when Dempsey starts spending a lot of time with LBR Lane Aberley? Give me an E for, oh my god, Christian Gregory, with Massey and her SBFF secret best friend forever. Lane vying for the same boy, Kristen has to make a choice. A, the Pretty Committee, or B, the Witty Committee. And if she doesn't choose fast, she'll end up C, committeeless. Dylan is hiding something, and it's not just Dylan is hiding something, and not just those peanut butter Luna bars stashed under her mattress. She's got a secret crush on Darrington, and it's no secret that he likes burpalicious redheads. Alicia Rivera prefers Pilates to pom-poms, especially when prefers pliés to pom-poms, especially when Massey orders her to the bottom of the cheer pyramid. Can Alicia accept her beta status, or is it time to become an alpha of her own squad? Again. Claire. Now that she's back with Cam, Claire finally has her life in order, but her friends are trading crushes like styling tips. Will the Pretty Committee survive the boy swap intact, or is the clique about to come apart at the seams? This came out in February 2009. I have a diagram. How much of this do I have to I wish I had 2 pieces of paper. But with my diagram in hand, it's book 1, really the only important love triangle, love matches is Massey to Chris Aberley. Book 2, Best Friends for Never. Ha! My bangs. Book 2 is Best Friends for Never. Claire likes Cam and Cam likes Claire. Massey likes Cam. And Alicia likes Cam's older brother. And Dylan likes Darrington. And Kristen likes Darrington. Book 3, Revenge of the Wannabes. Claire and Cam like each other. Massey likes Darrington. Kristen likes Clemp. Dylan likes Pulvert. And Alicia likes Cam's older brother still. Book 4. All the girls like their various crushes. Nina steals them all. With the ending bit being that Claire ruins her relationship with Cam because she kisses Josh. Which sends us into Book 5, The Pretty Committee Strikes Back, where Cam likes Claire but is mad at her because she kissed Josh. And Josh likes Claire, but she's kind of indifferent to his advances. And Alicia likes Josh. Massey likes Darrington and almost ruins that relationship. Kirsten and Dylan are effectively sidelined. They're kind of into Pulvert, I guess. But it's not really the plot. Some bitches be getting sidelined. Book 6. Massey and Darrington are together. Cam and Claire are together. Alicia and Josh just have crushes on each other, but there's nothing official. And Dylan and Kirsten are sidelined for the Book 6, which is Doll for Loser. Book 7. Same as Book 6, but with the conflict being interpersonal with Massey and Claire and the return to the new status quo post Hollywood. But also, there's that scene where they have to go into Darrington's room. They have to go into Cam's room to find out if Sky left them the clue under his bed, and Dylan is like play wrestling with Darrington, and I don't know if I said it in the video, but I was like, these two have more, like, there's some chem here. There's some chemistry here. But yeah, Darrington has chemistry with Darrington way more than he had with Massey. Sorry, my notes. Then Book 8 is Sealed with a Diss. The end of Sealed with a Diss has Massey and Darrington breaking up, Josh and Alicia being fine, Kirsten and Griffin Hastings, boy she had a crush on, not being together, Claire and Cam breaking up, Dylan, Pulvert, and Kemp all, being interested in her and then ruining that by belching too much. And Sky Hamilton likes Chris Aberley. Chris Aberley may like Massey, but neither of those things pan out. Then there's the summer collection, which, because I didn't know Kirsten's book was going to be that important. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Because I didn't know that. Coming into summer collection, the only thing you need to know as far as the relationship web is that Lane likes Dempsey and Kirsten likes Dune. And Lane helps Kirsten make Sky look silly, so that leaves Kirsten to spend time with Dune. And she's like, you made me a promise that you would help me get with my opposite sex best friend, Dempsey. And so she's got to do that because they have a whole thing that we will discuss. Book 9, Breakfast at Tiffany's, has... So Massey and Darrington are not together. They're broken up. Massey likes Dempsey. Dempsey appears to kind of like Massey. Olivia and Cam are dating, but that breaks up by the end of the book with Cam getting back with Claire. This is all color-coded, bro. Kristen and Dune, but Dune is off in UAU. doing something. It's surf competition. Josh and Alicia are together, obviously by the ugly pink hat she continues to wear. And Dylan is fully sidelined. And we have my end of the book thing, but we'll get to it. Ignore how my handwriting looks. It's not as pretty as my other videos, if you ever see my handwriting, because I was writing with new pens and trying to figure out how they feel. Oh yeah, slide in there, baby. Slide in there into the bookshelf. Yeah. I'm going to hell. Okay, now that I've done like 20 minutes of preamble, alright, so it is nighttime. So we start off on the 21st of September. The vibes are absolutely rancid with the girls immediately. Like, just absolutely rancid. And it's not just because of the extra garbage created by all the extra students attracting pigeons and birds and the like. The extra garbage is attracting pigeons, and Massey and the rest of the committee, minus Claire, because Claire is hanging out with Cam, are trying to sneak across the parking lot early to watch the soccer boys lamely have to hang out in the Tiffany Blue Box portables. The girls are getting pelted by bird poop, and Massey is trying to avoid looking like she misses her ex. The vibes are already absolutely garbo after the end of the boy fest, where the girls are like walking to the beat of a song like they do, but because no one wants to get hit with bird shit, Alicia bumps into Dylan, bumping Dylan into getting covered in bird poop. Kirsten tries to offer her clothing, but Dylan's like, I don't want your poor people clothing. And then Kirsten gets covered in bird poop, so she's like, well, I need this anyway, and they fight about that. Alicia bumping into people in Mass is just like, my girls, they're just so nasty, and they lash out at each other. So everyone but Massey gets pelted in bird shit. They're discussing their boys, their girls' crushes, and boyfriends, and Dylan is a C- because she is crushless. Kirsten has a crush, he's just not at their school right now, and they kind of low-key think he's a lie. And suddenly, everyone was silent, each girl wondering if she was the only one outside of the inside joke. The wheels in Massey's head spun like a Ferrari's. I ended the boys' fast. Now everyone is allowed to have a crush, and everyone does. Well, not everyone. Poor Dylan is more boyless than Lindsay Lohan on date night, but oh my god, got it. Massey's dark eyebrows shot up. Her ember eyes widened, her glossy lips part. C-, crush minus. Without crush, right? Given. Alicia nodded. I knew you'd get it. Massey cocked her head and half smiled. I knew I would too. Fine, C-, keep 'em. Kirsten muttered to Dylan, then she rolled up. Yeah. Keep 'em, Kirsten muttered to Dylan. Then she rolled her shoulders back. Who knows? This may be just what you need. LBR clothes? Massey crinkled her nose. No, the poo. I heard getting pigeon paint was good luck. Funny. You don't look so lucky. She rolled her shoulders and picked up her pace. Her friend's proud smiles faded like mystic tans. Because why you gotta be a bitch to your friends? This book made me question...
Oatmeal's done.
Oatmeal! Made me question my policy about calling. I had my policy from the original Alpha's book, which actually came out after this book. So if you're like, oh, I want to read in the timeline, slap this bad boy in the playlist. Watch it then. But I had to institute my thought processes on if it was morally acceptable to call a 14-year-old a bitch. So the girls finally roll up to the area where the portables are, just to find that the portals aren't these girly Tiffany boxes anymore. Now they're macho Microsoft Xbox gaming situations with a projector projecting onto the building. The boys are gaming outside. Claire and Cam roll up, and they're just so adorable and so annoying. Their plot for this book is being so in love with each other that it's annoying, but also they're so in love with one another that they absolutely avoid getting any strays. No stray bullets in these two. Where does that have a quote? If they had been actors in a movie, Massey would have thought they looked inevitably enviable. If they had been actors in a movie, Massey would have thought they looked like enviable, adorable. But because Claire was her friend and was clearly way happier than Massey was, Massey wanted to knock them both to the ground. The day was not supposed to start off like this. Not at all. Claire wasn't supposed to ditch carpool so she could bike to school with Cam. Birds weren't supposed to destroy their post-Boy Fest outfits. The soccer boys weren't supposed to make over the Tiffany box trailers. And the pretty committee was not supposed to be impressed. To fill in the gap where they don't want to go to the soccer games, Massey's like, oh my god, to get Dylan a boyfriend, we're gonna go shopping. You think this book is gonna be about Dylan getting a boyfriend? And nay. It is trauma. They're gonna go shopping after school for Dylan. Online shopping. Claire wants to watch the boys play soccer, but Massey doesn't want to see her ex, so they don't hang out with the soccer exes. There's a school musical happening, and Lane is going out for female lead of Wizard of Claus, and Dempsey's going, Dempsey, who's a big artsy fartsy, type LBR, is, he's from the last book, but also he is friends with Lane, and he is also going out for the part in the play. So Kirsten is trying to get Massey to not like Dempsey. She's like, actors are not hot. And then Massey names all of these actors from the mid-2000s Hot Boys. Are you saying that actors are not hot? Massey hissed. Kinda. Lifted her blonde brows in truth hurt sort of way. Have you heard of Zach? Yeah. Hayden? Yeah, but Harnett? Yes. Chance? Penn? Okay. Then all the boys start chanting for Darrington because he's doing something cool in the video game, and she's trying her best to ignore it, but then she gives out she gives out her new BFF WCs, which is Best Friends Forevers with Crushes. The mantra starting on page 15. Ew, please. Massey rolled her eyes and snorted like a sleepy piglet. I'm over him times 10, times 20. Good. Alicia began walking. Let's go see what that's all about. Hold. Massey swiped one more gloss of girl across her lips, then licked. Sugary sweetness coated her tongue and instantly lifted her mood. Focus. I have an announcement to make. The main reason the boy fast didn't work, she half yelled to recapture her friend's attention, is because we were hot times 10. We have amazing personalities and most of us have incredible style. And it was wrong for me to think that the boys could resist us. They're only human after all. The girls nodded in agreement once again. So I have prepared a pledge poem that will put us back on the right path. I'm summoned. Paradise. Okay, so does everyone have a new pledge poem? They consulted their inboxes and noted. Good. Then grab your charms and let's recite together in 3, 2, 1. We swore off boys for 10 whole days, but it didn't work so well. We acted like backstabbing cliches. Oh my god, Boyfest was hell. But we forgave one another, and now we're back in the groove. Sisters, lock up your brothers, 'cause we're on the move. This time we'll do it right. Our friendship comes first. PC support, day or night, or that member will be cursed. So I hereby decree, as my open heart gushes, we are now BFFWC, best friends forever with crushes. So after they go over it, we go to a new chapter. And it's Darrington. They go over to where the boys are. Darrington's in a tree. Dylan and Darrington are, fucking around, playing around with the tree. She's got a stick. Again, I noted that they had way more chemistry and not being mean than Massey and Darrington did. It's not like Massey and Darrington were not a cute idea. The idea of like a super serious girl and her dumb goofball golden retriever, very cute. However, but it's like two free goofballs. Dylan deserves something easy and fun and light, like popcorn. So they're having their own little moment, and Kirsten and Massey are arguing about, LBRs turned into, superstars, with Massey noting that Leighton Meester was born in jail, and that means she was an LBR and turned into a person, which, yikes! I feel like we haven't done just like a yikes counter in a while. Is it weird for you not to see my shoulders or my breasts? When was the last time I didn't where I wore a shirt without my titties out? Wow. So, Leighton Meester was in fact born in a jail. Her mother was failed by the system, and instead of getting the help that she needed with addiction, they just threw her in jail. And she was raised by her grandmother. Fun little side plot. But Kirsten's really going deep and like, no, you cannot date this former LBR. And while they're having this discussion, Claire and Alicia both have serious, quote-unquote, for middle school boyfriends. They start playing video games with their boyfriend, Darrington. Dylan pokes Darrington in the butt with a stick. Teacher comes out and is like, get out of this tree. He launches himself out of the tree, injuring his ankle. And he's got an injury. Oh no, sprained ankle. Dylan and Darrington end up with detention together. And so they have to meet up after school to clean bird poop off of the teacher's cars. And Kirsten invites the rest of the pretty committee to come to her house, her apartment, her condo. And Massey puts the kibosh on that and is like, well, do you suddenly have 5 computers? She's like, no, it'd be fun to share. And she's like, no, you're poor, and essentially we don't want to hang out with you at your poor person house. Which is a little sad, because it's kind of like... Just then, another load of flyeria fell from the sky. My sleeve! Kirsten gripped her soiled gray sweater. The girls giggled in spite of themselves. Why so sad? Pigeon poo is good luck, right? Massey smirked. Kirsten lifted her chin and forced a smile. Right. Good. Massey triple patted her on the back. Maybe that means you'll get a house soon. Kirsten gasped. Alicia, Claire, and Dylan glared at Massey like she had gone too far. But what if she had? All morning she had felt her alpha grip slipping. And when that happened, the only thing to do was to force it back into place. She's got a grip. She is gripping. And it's like, Kirsten was right to hide the fact that she was poor. We never looped back to that, the fact that she hid it from her friends before, but like, she was really right to do so. Her, specifically, like, Massey and Alicia, who will always do a sharp put down on her, really, like, they really kind of low-key hate her for being poor. Poor. I hate her because she's poor. Sorry, I got distracted looking at myself. Thought I could just fully not on my face. That's fine. Like, they're just really rude, and Massey in particular is very rude because she needs to grip her power. So, fun fact about this book is we get some new perspectives. Obviously, we're still getting Massey's perspective, and that's what we've had for the first 3 chapters. But the other 2 perspectives will be following the thoughts that we will be hearing. Not Claire or Alicia's, nay. Massey, Kirsten, and Dylan, which is so much fun because, like, it's fresh, you know, to hear them. I'm often saying that these 2 get sidelines and they're like barely characters, and that Dylan's plots are either being fat or eating or her hair, and Kirsten's just poor studying or sports. So it's really nice to just be able to, you know what's going on inside their heads. What's up with them? What's your deal? Maybe this book was as good as it was for me because I didn't have to constantly be hearing about Claire complain about her relationship and whine and cry and, you know, nearly throw herself like it's someone get the suicide watch. Alicia's sections are really fun. So Massey gets the girls to meet up to go get froyo, so Dylan's at school by herself. And she's like, God, why am I a C-? And that's when she meets up with Darrington, and she's really down on herself. Like, why would he want me? Like, she immediately is like, I have a crush on him, I really like him. And she's also like, why would he want me? I'm fat and not as cool as my friends. And that really just absolutely breaks my heart. As a person who grew up thinking they were fat, turns out wasn't fat, just large breasts. With no hips. If anything, I'm just straight up and down. But because I grew up thinking I was fat, and I was always like, well, no one would want me. Many boys and then young men wanted me. I'm a very wantable person. I'm hot as hell. They get to be alone together, and they listen to Joe Bro music on his iPod, and he's like, don't you tell anyone. And she's like, I won't. And it's like, They have to wear paper hats because bird poop contains diseases. Feces contains diseases is the only thing I remember from nursing school. And she's like, oh my God, I'm doing physical labor and I'm actually loving it. What is this? What is this crack pipe? Someone needs to talk about the the epidemic of this here crack pipe. The crack pipe being having a crush on a boy. She's had feelings for Darrington for a long time. Her crush is the longest standing crush. If you remember from my diagram from before, Kirsten and Dylan were both fighting over her, and then Darrington was playing both of them to get stuff out of them, with Kirsten doing his homework and Dylan doing like, just getting him stuff from her mom's show. And then Massey puts a kibosh on that. And then when she's trying to get her lick back on Alicia, I can't believe I said that. Trying to get her lick back on Alicia, she sits next to him during Revenge of the Wannabes, and they're like, she like gets it. She's like, oh, he's charming. So suddenly an earthquake-sized realization rattled Dylan. She and Darrington were soulmates. It was so obvious. They had the same sense of humor, the same fair skin, yikes Nazi, the same ability to burp words. She recalled the day she and Kirsten had fought over him, and how Massey settled the dispute by taking him for herself. From then on, Dylan hid her feelings like a skid mark thong, because coveting an alpha's crush was unethical, and competing with an alpha, well, that's impossible. Besides, It wasn't going from Massey to Dylan the same as switching from Gucci to Gap, George Clooney to George Bush, DSL to dial-up? Like, baby girl, hold your chin up high, queen. You're crown slipping. She's been so slighted in love. The only time she ever felt appreciated is when she was gorging herself in food. And as, you know, a big girl character as she is, she doesn't like being fat. She hasn't come to terms with being fat being just like a thing you can be, body neutrality and all that. So it's really just like when she gorges herself and does things she doesn't want to do. I'm not saying she should be doing all the crash diet she does is good either, but, you know, at least that is something she chose to do for herself instead of doing it to get the attention of boys. It's complicated. She just knows that she's gonna be like a second choice to everyone. And also the best friend's ex is just like a bad idea. And it's never gonna like her for her. She's immediately like, I can't date my best friend's ex. Either way, I'm gonna send myself back down from the stars. You know, at least if you go up into the sky, shoot for the sky, it's shoot for the stars. Because if you fail, Pitbull's gonna fall on top of your girl. She comes back to Earth and Darrington's like, hey, you want to help me find a gift? She's like, for a girl? And he's like, yeah, 16-year-old girl. She goes, oh, no. And he's like, it's my sister. And she's like, sure. And so they're going to do that after school tomorrow. It's like, you have a sister? And he's like, yeah. And she's like, well, Massey never told me that. And he's like, there are many things that Massey doesn't know. Ooh la la. Massey never told me you have a sister. There are a lot of things Massey doesn't know. Like, my name is Derek, not Darrington. I wore shorts last winter because I lost a bet. And I think red hair is cool. Dylan lifted her eyes, silently asking the universe if maybe it had sent me the wrong message. Maybe the suds had been a good sign, representing a clean, fresh start, not tears. Darrington, will you B-Day shop with me tomorrow after duty? Given. The more Dylan scrubbed, the more these doubts bubbled until they spilled from her eyes and tasted like salt. Was this pendulum swing of emotion a normal byproduct of meeting one's soulmate, or was it just her gut instinct, warning her not to get her hopes up? Fool in love, or just a fool? The facts were in, but the jury was out. The amount of crying in these books. I'm concerned that these girls are not drinking enough water. I just love it. Like, I love a bad boy with a heart of gold. I love, Darrington is obviously not a bad boy with a heart of gold, but just someone who's like, just real simple. Pete Davidson golden retriever type. And just wants you to be straight up because they're going to be straight up with you. And also I love the fact that Massey started calling Derek Darrington, and then everyone just started doing that. All his friends do it, and he's like, that's not my fucking name. So Dylan starts calling him Derek because that's going to be her thing. The second new perspective we get is Kirsten. Kirsten goes up to her apartment. She lives in this brown, stony condo kind of situation. The elevators are out, so she has to sneak back into her house quickly after climbing like 14 stairs. She's contemplating not only her mother, making sure that she's in there before she gets there. We also learn that Kirsten has a pet. There's just like so many. We've been reading these books for almost a year now. I got my copy of the Clique book 1 on the 24th of December. So we've almost been reading these books for a year. And this is the first time we're hearing about her pet cat, Beckham. It's a white Persian. He's cute, sweet. She goes upstairs, changes. She's thinking about Dune. And we get to loop back on the fact that I did not cover the Clique Summer Collection very well. It was kind of a slapdash kind of video. I hadn't produced these two back-to-back. I hadn't produced a lot of videos, and I was I was more interested in other projects that I was working on, so they kind of fell to the wayside. Big mistake. Guess I gotta go back and listen to Kirsten's, because so while Kirsten was at home last summer, during the summer collection, she ends up forming the Witty Committee, which is her, Kirsten, Lane Aberley, Rachel Walker. It says Amy Snyder, but I feel like that's incorrect. Oh, it is Amy Snyder. It's just spelled differently. Amy Snyder and Dahl Bonduk, and who is the person that Massey calls Candy Corn in Bratfest. That's what she's doing over the summer when she begins tutoring Ripple. She meets Ripple's older brother, Dune, who's a pro surfer, who's been gone for the past month on a heart-shaped island in Hawaii. But the two of them hit it off after Lainey is like, if you help me land my crush, which is Dempsey, and try to convince him that, you know, I'm cool, wantable, I will, you know, get him away from Sky Hamilton. She makes Sky Hamilton look like a fool so that he doesn't want to date her. So Lane and Kirsten have an agreement. Lane ends up filling the pool with Jello. Sky looks silly diving into Jello. And now Kirsten has Dune. Dune has been gone for a month, which distance makes the heart fonder. And she's just thinking about him. She's got all these butterflies. Thinking about how great it's going to be when he gets back. The problem is that Dune low-key hates her friends. He refers to the Pretty Committee as the OC Divas. He likes her because she's not a snob, but like he hates all of her friends and the person she's around when she's around her friends. So that's a big red flag for me. But you know, I'm a girl's girl over girl's girl type of girl. Okay, so when I was reading this, I was like, oh my god, he's gonna come back and he's not gonna actually like her, that Kirsten was making it up in her head or she was projecting. But no, they're like actually like crushes and it's cute. Kirsten gets a call from a member of the Witty Committee. It's Lane. But page 38. We'll also just take this time to explain how they all interact with one another. Her black razor rang Need You Bad by Jasmine Sullivan, something it only did in extreme emergencies. Kirsten shot up and Speed answered. Why aren't you using the WCC? She whispered. What if Massey was here? What if we got caught? Relax. This isn't official Witty Committee business, so I didn't want to use the Witty Committee computer. It's an abuse of power. Kirsten rolled her eyes. She was just as serious as Lane about their secret underground society of 5, who paid homage to their favorite historical gifted people by dressing up as them and meeting online to discuss all things intellectual. But if Massey ever found out Kirsten was Cleopatra, friends with LBR Lane Aberley, who dressed up as Albert Einstein, friends with LBR Rachel Walker, who dressed up as Oprah, friends with LBR Amy Snyder, who dressed up as Shakespeare, and friends with LBR Dahl Bonduk, who dressed as Bill Gates, and who Massey calls Candy Corn. F, all of the above. Massey would cover her in meat-flavored lip gloss of girl and feed her to Bean. We need to talk. Not Einstein to Cleo. Us. But butts are for sitting. School has been in session for weeks and I haven't made any progress with Dempsey. None. I thought the Wizard of the Call's callback would be my chance for romance, but Massey was there and completely blocked me. So Massey was there giving out actor tips that she learned from the set of Dialogue for Losers. Turns out that while Dylan was doing stuff outside with Darrington, Massey was watching Dempsey do his callbacks and giving out advice. It's so funny that they just like never look back on Claire being an actress, but you know, I guess it's there. We'll pin it. They recap the plot of her summer book on page 40. I'll read it. Yes, I remember. She doesn't like him, does she? Lane squeezed. Because if she does, you have to break them apart. You promised me. I helped you get Sky Hamilton away from Dune this summer. You promised me you'd help me get Dempsey. Remember? Remember? Yes, I remember. But it's not that easy. Neither was breaking into the country club, filling the pool with Jell-O, and creating a video reflection so it looked like water, and timing it so that Sky jumped in before Dune. But I did it, and now if you'd kindly place your hand on your neck and feel the shark's tooth, I think you'll agree with the plan. I read it. Curious to find out if Dempsey likes Lane, because they've been opposite sex best friends for however long. Kirsten ex-nays this conversation because she's like, I cannot be doing this right now. So she goes off to kick some shit. She takes her soccer ball up to the roof, covered in beer cans and bottles, and is like, if I hit this pile, it means I will do it for Lainey. And if I hit this pile, it means I'll do it for Massey. And when she kicks it, she totally misses, and the ball ends up in the hands of who? Dempsey. Dempsey is moved into the apartment because his parents, after coming back from Africa, didn't like living in the big house, so they rent an apartment here. I don't trust Dempsey. I don't trust this plot at all. I feel like he's a big old liar's liar, but whatever. That's why he's here, because apparently he's still rich and his parents are helping out the African orphans, but his mom was just like, I can't live in this house. I can't be in this big ass house after being in Africa. So he's her new neighbor, and he's too perfect. Every once in a while he slips up grammatically, and that's how she knows he's not quite perfect. But he's very perfect. Yeah. So the Gal Pals, the pretty committee, is back at the New Greens cafeteria. They mark their table. Massey has now been informed that Dempsey lives at the apartment next door to Kirsten, so of course she's like, oh my god, cozy cute, I would love to visit there. She fucking hates and ridicules Kirsten's apartment at Pinewood, so of course now they're like, oh my god, we have to hang out there more. Lainey appears to talk to her best friend, Dempsey or Claire, Dempsey, and it's time for the announcements of who is going to be in the Wizard of Claws. Darrington is also a part of this conversation for a little bit. Alicia's done doing the announcements when she announces that Dempsey and Lane both got the leads for Wizard of Claws. Because we're in Massey's perspective, we can't help but hear everything from her side. So Darrington doing whatever he's doing here, sneaking out of the lunch portables to be there. She's like, oh my god, he's doing it for my attention. She's just so obsessed with the idea that he's obsessed with her. She's like, I'm gonna have to get involved with the arts, which is like, oh my god, she's gonna go out for another play, another role. But Kirsten's like, I love sports. Ooh. So Massey's like, I love the arts because Dempsey loves the art. And Kirsten's like, I love sports. And Dempsey's like, I also love sports. Darrington has janked his ankle, from falling out of the tree. And Dempsey's like, oh, maybe I'll try out for the soccer team to replace him. I love sports. I learned how to play sports with the African orphans. And Kirsten's like, I love sports. And Massey's like, oh, wow. Maybe I'll do something. Cheerleading, maybe. So Dempsey completely drops the play to do soccer. Massey is fully in her villain era, and we set up the rest of Dylan's plot from this point on. I am pleased to announce this year's female and male leads for The Wizard of Claus will be played by Lane Aberley and Dempsey Solomon. Yes! Lane threw her fedora in the air. A flurry of mangy pigeon feathers drifted to the ground. Dempsey threw his tanned arms around her and lifted her into the air. Massey flicked another soybean, this time pegging Lane on the cheek. Dylan threw her head back and cracked up. Jealous much? Lane shouted at the entire cafe, having no idea who the soy shooter was. Massey summoned Lane to the head of the table with an index finger. Hey, where did you say the rehearsals were? Lane exhaled sharply, poisoning Massey's air with spicy chip smell. Don't even think about stealing the female lead. It's already mine. Please. Massey slapped her heart. I wouldn't dream of it. Lane leaned in a little closer. Then what do you want? The male lead. Massey winked. Then, just to be perfectly clear, she pulled out a travel-sized bottle of Chanel 19, leaned forward and spritzed the back of Dempsey's olive green hoodie 3 times. Darrington waved the iris-scented air. Dude, is that you? Dempsey sniffed the back of his sweatshirt, marked with concern. Don't worry. The same thing happened to me a few months ago. I think you've been touched by an angel. More like the devil, Lane mumbled. Her phone beeped with a text. I marked him. He's mine. Lane's thick eyebrows collided. You can't do that. What? Dylan asked, peeking at Lane's screen, and then immediately began typing. You marked Darrington, and now you're over him? You sure you mean it this time? Is it marking forever? Massey glowered across the table before responding. Why was everyone feeling so negative lately? I can unmark him by soaking him with water. You going to unmark Darrington? Someday. You don't even like him anymore. Doesn't mean he can like anyone else. But are for toning. And so we're setting up the rest of Dylan's plot, which is that trying to get Massey to release Derek, so that she realized that she probably wants the person right now, that he is her soulmate. Kirsten's plotline is obviously trying to figure out which one of her friends she's going to help to get Dempsey. Dempsey. And Claire's plot, giggling and texting Cam, and Alicia is just doing the morning announcements. Like, these 2 girls are so out of the plot. They are barely involved. Who is Claire? Who? Like 3 girls at the time. A time. My point has been proven that Lacey Harrison can literally only do 3 girls at a time. There was just too many characters, because this is 3 characters, and it's at its best when you're not thinking too much about it, or the villain that is Allie J. Which is so wild, because like the same person who's the annoying villain, quote unquote, because truly Shiva is the villain of these series. The secondary villain being the hippy dippy Allie J, and then also the annoying villain, secondary villain of this book, because Massey's really the main villain of the Clique books. Is that hippy dippy people are annoying, and all their feelings about things are annoying, and they ruin things. So because Dempsey is going to be in the soccer team and he's just going to do the play next semester, probably stay tuned for that. Massey's like, you know what, we're going to start a cheer squad because they already tried to do soccer and they were terrible at it. So that they can be on the field with boys. And honestly, Massey never does anything halfway. It's kind of iconic and I love everything about what she does. As far as her activities. She's like fully an emotional terrorist in this book. And you know what? We can't help but stand. In this moment, we are negotiating with terrorists. So Dylan rides doubles after her detention to the mall, to like the strip mall with Darrington. She like, at some point he has to stop pedaling because his ankle hurts. And she's like, oh no, I'm too fat. And it's like, baby girl, you're literally, A, he's a middle school boy, and you're a middle school girl. You can't possibly. And knowing what we know about her, she's not actually that fat. Like, she's just chubby. So the idea that he's not able to push her, it's more to do with his injury and less to do with her actual size. Like, I feel bad for... like, I disliked Dylan as a character before, not because anything was technically wrong with her, that she was particularly mean, and even her being gross was like, whatever. But it's the language that they use to talk about her, and the language she uses to talk about herself outwardly, because now that we get her internal monologue, we know that she is quite sensitive about this, was just so... the way they just, every plot point is fat, hair, big, curly. Hearing her thoughts on page 59. Rosemary mint shampoo wafted off Dylan's hair and enveloped them in what she pictured to be an invisible scented heart. Then a vision of Massey formed in her head, or rather what the alpha would do. She saw them right now, and her heart scattered like glitter in the wind. You're strong, Dylan mused, thumb drumming on her back as they rounded the corner onto Main Street. Oh my god, he thinks I'm a man. Massey would never peddle a boy, not even for charity. Students lumbering home under the weight of their backpacks envy glance as they passed. Dylan made sure they saw her "my life is so perfect, I'm bored" expression. Lids heavy, mouth relaxed, hungry. After a few blocks, Darrington started to slow down, and then the bike started to wobble. Am I too fat? Dylan spit out her wad of twisted tornadoes bubblicious, hoping to lighten the load. Still, the bike swayed from side to side. I should get off, Dylan managed, despite the lump in her throat. Good idea. Darrington slammed on the brakes. What? My ankle. He began to loosen his laces. Oh, the throat lump disintegrated. Want me to pedal? And that's when that other section happened, Megan, if you want to move that around. Urgency. Dylan couldn't stop. Dylan couldn't stop pedal laughing, or was the giddiness a side effect directly related to Darrington's chest being pressed up against her back? Either way, she needed to get off the black bike, and show this boy that despite her strong legs and extreme mouth gas, she was all lady. And she would start by calling him Derek. So they go into this fancy poopery store. Darrington breaks something, and the woman's like, you have to pay for that. Darrington's like, I got $20. Dylan slapped down her mom's car. The woman's like, you're not Marilee. And she's like, I'm Marilee's daughter. And the woman's like, oh my god, you don't have to worry about that. Let me take you to the back. And she's like, I will not have my ass kissed. Not today. So they leave and they go to the dollar store and they buy 16 gifts at the dollar store, and they buy some other cute stuff, a keychain, and it's like, this is a little more true to Darrington's taste anyway. Not everything has to be designer. So Kirsten is hosting her first slumber party of the Pretty Committee. Her first Girl Like Us slumber party, and she's got everything planned out from the Friday night sleepover checklist. 5 red Crate and Barrel plates exactly 3 inches apart on my desk, just like at Massey's house, each piled high with a different snack and labeled accordingly. Edamames. Excuse me. The frozen kind. Hummus platter. Hummus, pita, 4 black olives left over from Mom's Wednesday night book club. Sweet and salty surprise. 3 Hershey bars melted down over 2 bags of rose gold. Rolled golds from the vending machine near Mom's desk at the Mercy Me, aka Mercy Memorial Hospital. It's written in cursive and I haven't read it yet, so forgive me. Gourmet Italian popcorn, Pop Secret doused in craft grated Parmesan cheese. Gummy in my tummy, a sweet heap of worms and feet from 7-Eleven. Creme brulee scented room spray, lavender scented sheet spray for sleeping bags, and a stocking stuffer from Massey last Christmas. SOS! Sleepover songs. A Little Bit Longer by the Jonas Brothers. Tell Me Something I Don't Know, Selena Gomez. Wake Up Call, Hayden Payne and Tiara. I'm Yours, Jason Mraz. First Kiss, Kiera. One Love, Jordan Pruitt. Footballer's Wife, Amy McDonald. A Losing Grip, Avril Lavigne. And You Think, Clique Girls. I'm sorry, what? Do they have a song? Do I need to do some research? Maybe I will have a playlist with these songs in it set up for you all. Link in the description, maybe. I don't know. Kirsten's mom lets them in. She's got everything planned out. She's got her checklist. She's got her kitty. And she's so excited that Kitty gets to be the new bean. She gets the house up to 76 degrees so that it's as much like the guest house as possible because Massey likes to be warm. The girls bust into her room and they're like, I didn't even know you had a cat. And she's like, Dylan calls it cozy in the polite sense. And they're like, we thought Beckham was a fake boyfriend you made up. Becca being her cat. Which is like, why would she do that? How lonely do you think she is? So much to unpack. Massey brought Bean in a quilted bag and makes Beckham, because Bean, always gets what she wants. Beckham has to stay in Kristen's mom's room. And she's just like, bummer, cow bummer. I didn't know you had one of those. Massey hooked her black quilted Marc Jacob tote over her shoulder, even though it was already hooked. What about all of those pictures on my phone and in my wallet and in my binders? And I thought they came with the frames. Massey adjusted her lilac in your dream sleep mask. I always thought Beckham was your imaginary boyfriend. Alicia flopped down on Kirsten's bed. Just like Josh is yours, Dylan joked. Just like no one's yours? Alicia raised her perfectly plucked eyebrow. Aw, he's cute. Claire pelted him. Come feel how soft he is. He smells like coconuts. Kirsten buried her nose in his white fur. A low grumble came from Massey's black quilted Marc Jacobs tote. At first, Kirsten thought it was the alpha's stomach until the grumbling barked. Lady behavior, Bean, Massey commanded. But the black pug, who was dressed in a moss green silk cami and boy shorts, get that dog out of that sweater, ignored her, instead jumped out of the bag and leapt towards Beckham. Ah! Kirsten shouted, startled by the sudden attack. Beckham jumped out of Kirsten's arms and landed feet first on the bed. Bean hopped up 3 times trying to get up onto the bed while Beckham paced frantically. Claire and Alicia and Dylan clung to each other for safety. Aw, baby, want some help? Massey cooed, then lifted Bean onto the bed. The dog went straight for the cat's bow tie, clawing and growling at it as if it were a direct threat. Wow! Beckham sprang onto his hind legs and batted Bean's face like it was made of yarn. Kirsten scooped up her cat with urgency. Why did you put her up there? Oops. Massey covered her mouth daintily like a society girl with hiccups. I'm just so used to giving her what she wants, I wasn't thinking. I'm just a baby. Beckham wiggled free and scurried under the bed. Sorry, we weren't expecting this. Massey shrugged with an annoying amount of nonchalance. She's used to being the only animal. So is Dylan, Alicia snickered, waving away some freshly fouled air. So is your face, Dylan countered. They all cracked up except for Kirsten. She dropped to her belly, pouted, and apologized to her trembling kitty as her canine tormentor lay peacefully on a pile of pillows below. You may want to put Black-Tie Beckham in your mom's room. You know, until he learns to deal. Like, B Squad, being Dylan and Kirsten, are taking a lot of hits this evening. It's a bad time. I want to fist fight Massey. Fist fight on site. So apparently, Josh saw someone writing doubles with Darrington. Alicia says she doesn't know who it is, but you know. Whoever it is dead to Massey. Claire's like, well, maybe Mass, maybe you'll release him. And she's like, I'll release him after I'm assured I get Dempsey. Which Claire, who is friends with Lane, probably already knows the secret. And it's like, well, what if you don't get him? And someone else, have you thought that maybe someone else might like him? She's like, doesn't matter. Not until I get Dempsey. Massey flipped her flat iron and tossed hair. But what if you don't? Kirsten blurted and then regretted it. Don't what? Massey accidentally swatted her flat iron to the floor. Don't get Dempsey, Claire butted in. I mean, what if someone else likes him and, gets him first? Like who? What's different does it make? Dylan returned to the bed. It's not like you'd go back to Darrington if you couldn't get Dempsey, right? Given. Massey dipped her pinky in a pot of gold glitter, then wiped it on her cheekbones. But the boys are in right now, and when something's hot, I get two. Dylan is trying to feel out where her friendship with Massey is. Massey understands it as being like, oh, you're jealous of me. She's not jealous. She's trying to be a good friend and be like, when are you gonna stop being in love with the boy that I like? Because I would like to like him. Alicia, so they start talking about cheer, and Alicia, who's into modern dance, is a dancer and is like, well, our cheer should be modern dance, like Bring It On style. Megan, get the clips from Bring It On, please. Just make sure you have them on hand. Remember, Alicia's a dancer at the Body Alive studio. Where's Sky Hamilton? Body Alive studio. Happy 1 year, you guys. And everyone, Kirsten has a very interesting reaction to him showing up. Prickly heat spread through Kirsten's entire body. Was the room hotter than 76 degrees? Had her antiperspirant stopped working? Were Dempsey's eyes always army green? She wiped her palms on her blue and white striped Victoria's Secret pajama bottoms, wishing she had worn something less cotton. But her mind and body were like plaids and stripes, refusing to work together, leaving Kirsten to wonder why exactly her internal crust furnace was overheating to such an obvious degree. Was it A, the thrill of having a boy, any boy, at her first sleepover? B, the pressure she felt to save Dempsey for Lane, even though Massey had sprayed him? C, knowing some deep conscious level that in 2 days Dune would be standing in her doorway. She couldn't wait? Check. Something else that she didn't dare consider. Kirsten always chose C when she didn't know the answer. A sudden waft of Chanel No. 19 filled the room. Dempsey comes to ask about the cheer squad. Massey's like, yeah, it's mostly us, but we're gonna get some LBRs to put at the bottom of the pyramid. Alicia's like, pyramids are out, and he's like, just kind of ignoring all the red flags that is happening. Dempsey's like, I'm gonna tell Lane to join because it'll be super fun. She's been telling me she's a big fan of soccer, and that would get her on the field. Lane also drops out of the play so that they could do the next one next semester together. Kirsten's like, oh shit, he does like Lane. Oh god, we gotta figure it out. Kirsten's stomach lurched again. Oh my god, he likes Massey. She peeked at Claire, who was scrutinizing the cuticle on her left thumb. Did she feel uncomfortable too, burdened with too much information and doomed to carry the weight of the knowledge alone? Claire had to know how Lainey felt about Dempsey. After all, they were best friends. OTPC, outside the pretty committee. And everyone knew how Massey felt. If only she could ask Claire's advice. She wanted to know, which friend did she feel more obligated to help? What was the best way to ask Dempsey who he liked? Who did she think liked him more, Massey or Lane? Who did she think deserved him more, Massey or Lane? Who did she think was better match for him, Massey or Lane? Could she trust her enough to tell her about the witty committee? Gee, all of the above. Yes, Claire had kept Kirsten's scholarship secret, but conspiracy to cover friendship with an LBR? That was a serious misdemeanor. It's gonna be so cool, Dempsey clapped once. Yeah, if you considered A, being a double agent for your friends while they had a crush on the same guy, cool. Pretending soccer has cheerleaders so your BFF can stalk a player, cool. Or C, all of the above, cool. Then sure, this was gonna be great. Just like, this is gonna be emotionally damaging for all involved. We're back in our emotional trauma eras, babes. Bow. So it's Monday at 4 p.m. and the girls are doing it like in the first Bring It On movie. The rest of the pretty committee sat on either side of her, American Idol side. Pens stacked with purple paper laid neatly in front of them. They were wearing their cheer uniforms, which, thanks to Massey's purple hair streak, had been designed and delivered by Stella McCarthy in less than 48 hours. And thanks to Massey's explicit directions, they looked nothing like cheerleader uniforms. Black sequins, off-the-shoulder mini dresses with soccer spelled in gold-stitched letters, which were sure to be envied even from the cheap seats. Underneath, the pretty committee wore black leather short shorts because no one wanted to tumble on a mid-flip crotch shot of herself on the internet. And in keeping with the Tomahawk's American Indian theme, they wore knee-high metallic gold moccasins, festive bells dangling off the fringes. A butt-sweeping ponytail extension took care of the hair, bronzing gel and MAC took care of the rest. It's time for trials. It's not super fun because Massey is hypocritical, but she's like, it's gonna be fun. It had the potential to be fun, like, again, a Bring It On scene. But what Massey scours all the girls that are there to try out, and it's like, if I let all these girls try out, I'm not going to have enough time to flirt with Dempsey. So she had each one of the pretty committees pick someone who they thought would be good. Massey picks Lane, Kirsten picks Ripple, Alicia picks Olivia, and I don't think Claire picks anyone. Alicia clearly is someone who is more qualified to be running a cheer squad, but Massey insists on being the captain because she's the one who's in charge. A captain? TCHS? What? The captain has spoken. Alicia rolled her eyes and sighed while Massey made the mental note to eliminate pyramids from her routine. Then she made the second mental note, convince everyone that it had been her ideas. First in line, please approach the judges. Massey restacked her stacked paper as a short-legged baby-faced girl with light brown eyes and sea blue juicy sweatsuit marched forward. Who selected you? Massey tapped the cap of her purple metallic pen against her teeth. I did. Kirsten lifted her hand from the far left side of the table. This is Ripple. She's very athletic and totally available after school and like 6 years old. 0.9, Ripple corrected. Do you even go here? Dylan twirled her ultra-thick, half-straight, curly ponytail. Not yet, but I will.
Who the fuck are you? Who the fuck are you? Oh no.
Not yet, but I will. And when I do, I'm going to start my own pretty committee and cheerleading squad and surf team and... Ripple, are you asleep? Ripple peered at Kirsten, hoping for clarification. Kirsten lowered her eyes, offering none. No. Why? Then why are you dreaming? Massey glared at Kirsten, reprimanding her for making such a ridiculous choice. With a name like that, she had to be related to Dune. So, yeah. 82? Am I sure about that? Okay, so Lainey and her friend Twizzler do like this interpretive dance. Cheer squad dance. Lane and the tall, thin, red-headed boy Massey had nicknamed Twizzler approached the table. They wore matching white unitards covered in black hexagons, looking like two soccer balls that had been flattened by a steamroller. Our word is flair. Nice pick, Claire, Alicia muttered. I didn't pick them, Claire whispered back. Did you? Alicia whispered, asked Dylan. Please. You? Kirsten? She asked Kirsten. I did, Massey barked. Now let her finish. Thank you. And now for our cheer. Lane unrolled 2 blue gym mats while Twizzler rubbed chalk on his hands. Once the mats were down, he lay on his back and lifted his limbs like a dog playing dead. Standing above him, Lane clasped his feet with her hands, and he clasped hers with his. In a show of tremendous physical strength, they fused together in a giant O, and began rolling down the mat, chanting, Juggle, dribble, kick, the tomahawks are slick. Juggle, dribble, kick, the tomahawks are slick. The other wannabes jumped out of the way. I once saw 6 little people do that in Cirque du Soleil, Alicia gasped. Cirque du no way, Dylan giggled as they rolled past. Are they supposed to be a soccer ball? Claire's blue eyes were wide in amazement. More like a psycho ball. So they get on the team, and Twizzler and her are a package deal, so they are both on the team. The team name is Soccer. Next person to try out is Olivia, but Claire vetoes her because she stole Cam, and absolutely not. Alicia's pretty upset about this because Olivia is a good dancer. She's the second best dancer in school. The girl turned on her heel of her capezio and clacked out of the cafe, the pleats of her skirt waving goodbye with every angry step she took. You're not a cheerleader, you're a fear leader, she called, then slammed the door behind her. And you're the IQ of a deer leader, Massey called. Kirsten burst out laughing. A queer leader. Dylan burped. Not in my ear leader, Dylan cackled. Unimportant after really IQ of a deer leader. Everyone except Alicia laughed. Thank you, Claire smiled appreciatively. Yeah, thanks, Alicia grumbled. Leash, are you an LBR with a broken leg? No. Then stop acting like a sore loser. Let's move on, Massey insisted. She was about to summon the next wannabe when her left cheek started to burn. She turned towards the heat, and it was coming from Claire's eyeball. Or rather, the I-door Massey love ray beams coming out of them. What are you doing? I can't believe you stood up for me like that, Claire refused. Massey rolled her eyes. That's what friends do, Claire. They look out for each other. Right, girls? Right, they mumbled, almost like they didn't mean it. Now stop staring. So Dempsey is like, you got a squad together? And she's like, I cannot waste any more time on this. So, they just like look into the crowd and she just picks a girl. She picks a girl, McNugget number 1. And for her to be on the cheer squad. Unlike Darrington, who was good from afar, but far from good, Dempsey was good no matter how close he were standing. He was an alpha male who shed his LBR skin and then buried it out back where no one could find it. You, over there! She pointed at one of the remaining 2 girls, recognizing her stocky little body from gymnastics. Her hair was dirty blonde, her T-zone was clear, and her teeth were even. She was a solid 7 out of 10. Pretty enough to be seen with, but not a threat. Congratulations, McNugget number 1. You're a socker. Yay! Claire squeaked, air clapping for her pick. McNugget number 1 stepped forward. My name is What About Me, McNugget number 2. I didn't even get to try out. Next season. Massey tried to smile sweetly. It looked like the sun was in her eyes. Why her? Alicia cocked her head and blinked rapidly. Why not? It's like you want the team to look bad, Alicia sniffed. I do. So we look even better. She playfully smacked Alicia's butt-length ponytail, but instead of raising her finger and saying point, Alicia steadied her swinging hair and walked out. She was not about it, this book. Alicia's generally pissed that before she even tried to veto, and the other times her other pick got vetoed, and any other time Alicia has tried to break out of the girl's grip is because she thought she could do something better, or that she thought she was doing something right. But it wasn't actually because she didn't, respect Massey as an alpha. Whereas this time, fully Massey not respecting Alicia as a person and as, someone with cognitive thoughts. As an alpha of something that has literally nothing to do with Massey. We will return to this, but I think it is very clear what Alicia's beef with Massey is. It is becoming very, very clear that things are running downhill. Next chapter. Alicia running upstairs trying to get humble for her mother. When a guy at her apartment door is like, hey, I gotta give you something. Somebody dropped a brace cuff with the letter D on it. And there's so many toys with the letter D in their name in this book, in this series, that she thinks that the cuff belonged to Dempsey. She goes upstairs to take it to Dempsey. Dempsey's like, wow, interesting uniform you're wearing. Was it designed by Massey? Yeah, After a slight jerk of the doors parted, Kirsten headed straight for 10G, overcome by the sudden urge to run. She knocked gently even though she wanted to pound. Dempsey opened the door immediately. Amber-scented incense filled the hallway. Hey, he smiled, his green eyes even greener than they had been at lunch. Cool uniform. Kirsten pinched her sequins-covered dress. Oh yeah, she blushed. Did Massey design them? His face illuminated when he said her name. Kirsten nodded yes. Wow, he mouthed, scanning her. Was he impressed that he thought A, Massey was talented, B, Massey was insane, C, thought that Kirsten looked hot, D, that he thought Kirsten looked like Las Vegas, E, no idea whatsoever. Check. What? Kirsten asked self-consciously. This whole cheerleading thing is awesome. He gave her a hearty thumbs up. Lame about having the coolest girls at school cheering while you're... hold up. Really? You don't think it's lame? What's lame about having the coolest girls at school cheering while you're playing soccer? He glanced at his bare feet, then lifted his head with a hopeful grin. Hey, we should all go to Ryland Playland this weekend. The soccer team and the cheerleaders. My parents rented out the park so they could take some visiting orphans. It should be pretty cool. Kirsten slowly began to relax like an overblown balloon with a tiny leak. Sure. She considered asking him which cheerleader he thought was the coolest, which one he wanted to sit beside on the dragon coaster, which one he was really asking out. But Kirsten stopped herself when she heard his mom. Dempsey, come set the table. She tries to give him the cuff. It's not his cuff. Whose cuff is it? The cuff isn't Dempsey's. That's when she sees it. Dune sitting Indian style on the floor reading Silver Surfer comics. His skin was so tan she could barely see him in the dimly lit hallway. Nice necklace, he smiled shyly. You're here! Kirsten stood above him, awkwardly while her internal hard drive rebooted. His bracelet, her crush, Dune Baxter, back from Tuvara. She had waited weeks for this moment, imagined it playing out in a billion different ways, yet none of them, not one of them, like this. Kirsten had no idea if she should ask how his trip was, wait for him to stand, lean down, hug him, kiss him, if then lip or cheek. Started talking about the first thing that came to her mind to avoid making a decision she'd probably forget. Check. Dude, you have no idea what's been going on. She prattled with hushed urgency in case Dempsey could hear. What? All right, we get to do my favorite thing that I'm always bad at, but I always like to do. Lane and Massey both like my neighbor Dempsey, and they both want me to talk to him for them. I should help Massey because she's my BFF, but Massey doesn't know that I'm friends with Lane, and Lane said I owe her big time, which I do because she helped me. Anyway, I don't know what to do. Easy. Dune stuffed the comic book in his back pocket of his baggy, faded Hurley jeans. Massey really likes him because he's trendy. She'll find someone else. help Lane. She's cooler. He does not like Massey. He's like, yeah, it's a good voice of reason for like, but like, you know, what's her friendship? And then there's this whole ponytail thing. Her ponytail almost falls off. Dune calls, says that she looks like an OC diva, and then Kirsten's mom appears and says that she looks like a strumpet, and then grounds her for dressing like a whore. She doesn't end up giving back his leather bracelet, and then she doesn't even kind of want to chase after him to give it to him either. So we get our cheer squad schedules for the suckers. Oh my god, it's so... I blown this motherfucker out for y'all. Hopefully it's readable. Soccer's rehearsal schedule from the week of the 28th to the week of the 28th of September to the 10th, the 2nd of October. Monday, auditions. And then, Monday is auditions and then after auditions, Massey will review popular dance movies such as Dirty Dancing, Save the Last Dance, Bring It On, Stomp the Yard, Step Up 2, The Streets, Bossa Nova, Planet, B-Boy. Massey will finalize the routines and cheers. Note, I decided that pyramids are no longer part of the program and I am over them. If you had your heart set on them, please let me know ASAP so I can replace them. Tuesday, Massey will teach the cheers after school. Practice on your own. Draw your blinds so that the wannabes can't copy you. Stretch for 30 minutes, then take a bath with some Epsom salts. Pat dry, don't rub. Make sure you moisturize. Wednesday at BOCD, we'll have a low-key dress rehearsal on the field. Avoid sweating because we won't have time to shower until after third period Pilates. Then after school, they will walk the grounds, practicing step, clapping, and speaking in clear, distinct syllables. On Thursday, they will do aqua rehearsals to loosen the muscles and test the acoustics in an echoey pool. And also on Thursday, they'll be at a nursing home doing dress rehearsals for the super old people. Make sure to smile and enunciate. Thursday's a full day. Then Massey will be working with a publicist to take pictures for the local newspaper. Then later, after that, Massey will be reviewing and sending out feedback from the old folks' home performance. I would have loved to have seen all this. Friday, they'll use uniform fittings by Inez. Uniform fittings by Inez, the block's housekeeper, as some outfits may need to be taken in due to an increase in burned calories. Fingers crossed. If you need to have an outfit let out, you will be off the team. I can easily replace you. Hair and makeup by Jacob. Try not to move or eat for the rest of the day. Massey will be giving out special pom-poms. Make sure you have manicures. At 4:30, it's kickoff. Tomahawks versus groundhogs. Go Sockers. Greet the fans, smile, pack Purell because they can be gross. It's giving very dance moms. All Dylan can think about is all the time and flirting and seeing Darrington in the hall. Derek. My brain always autocorrects it to Darrington, but it's Derek. His name is Derek. In the parking lot, because those are their pigeons, their parking lot pigeons. He meets up with her and is like, my sister loved the birthday presents. Dylan is really struggling because the person she would normally ask in these situations about how to react to a boy talking to her and being nice, she has to hide it from. So it's Friday. It's time for the first game. And Massey, instead of giving out pom-poms, gives these peacocked, plumed, covered clutches as pom-poms. So they go into cheers. It's actually not that bad. They're actually really good. They have these big, long ponytails for these extensions that are really heavy. Dylan already has really thick hair, so it's really heavy on her. And she's like, the thing that makes me special I don't even get to have because everyone's got the big long ponytail. All Dylan can focus on is trying to get Massey to douse this boy in water so she can be free. The crunch of an empty water bottle slapped her back to reality. Missing something? Massey held a thick red horsetail under Dylan's chin. Oops. Dylan took the 2-pound extension. It must have fallen off, she sighed reluctantly, clipping it back into place. You know, Dylan, Alicia stretched her hammies, launching the jingle of 1,000 little bells. You should really be more careful. And Massey, as captain, you should be more strict. Seriously? Dylan laughed, the word out of her mouth, covering it in utter disbelief. It was one thing to be treated like a child by her best friend, but it was 2 things to be standing near a new crush while she was doing it. Yeah, seriously. Alicia stretched her other leg. We're seconds away from curtain. Massey, you need to feel confident that your dancers are ready to take the stage. I advise you not to rescue them anymore. If they mess up, pack up. Massey put her hands on her hips and thrust her neck out like a chicken mid-peck. And I advise you to not advise me ever again. Funny, you should talk about rescuing Leash, Dylan blurted. What do you mean? Alicia's heavily lined eyes narrowed. She rested her arm on the metal frame of the tomahawk's goalie net, or whatever it was called. I mean, she cranked up the volume, weren't you telling everyone in French that you rescued Massey, and that without your input, these routines would be 6th grade level? Opposite of true, Alicia stomped her moccasin, a jingle punctuating her rage. You know I don't speak French. Despite the weight of her ponytail, Dylan cocked her head. French class. She paused. You know, the one with Josh and Cam and Darrington and taking the place of our injured captain, bellowed the student sportscaster. Our newest player, Dempsey Sullivan. Moving on, Massey shouted at her friends, then lifted her peacock feather-covered clutches. We have a job to do. Hey! So Alicia is doing Massey's job, being like, Claire, you need more pop. Dylan needs sharper head movements, and all Dylan can focus on is, God damn it, douse this boy in water. Interesting to see Alicia's plot coming to a head from the perspective of everyone else, because it's like Claire is truly not a part of this book. She is just here to smile and wave. But with Dylan and Kirsten, you can also see that things are going downhill quickly. The entire Pretty Committee, OG squad of the Pretty Committee, is sprinting downhill. They do their first cheer. Dempsey learned soccer. Dempsey learned soccer in Africa. He's the king of the field. Rah, 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 rah. Dempsey learned soccer in Africa. He's the king of the field. Rah, 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 rah. Which is so weird. Lainey is allergic to her pom plume. She's allergic to the feathers. She sneezed so hard she conks herself out on the soccer goal with the ponytail. She's helped off the field because this heavy-ass ponytail is gonna, rip her hair out. Massey does some light body shaming. Steamroller, Massey called with renewed energy. Twizzler dropped down on all fours and looked up at Massey. We need someone to be Lane. What about Dylan? Alicia offered. Why me? She asked, pulling a tube of clear Lancome gloss from her feather clutch pom-pom. Your back is pretty, wide. Dylan's fingers began to throb. How was this how the Incredible Hulk felt before his shirt ripped open? And if we're gonna steamroll over something, I think it should be, why don't you lie on your back in case someone falls? Then we can use your boobs as cushions. Dempsey ran by, kicking the ball. New cheer. Designer girls and Adidas, Fila, Nike too. What's a sock hurt girl to do? We gotta look hot for the fellas, and that's why we're all wearing Stellas. What in the Barbie math is hard is going on here? I feel like I'm just learning how to read again. Stellas! Dylan sees, Sensing Derek was watching, Dylan swung her head like a Garnier Fructis model, reminding him that with or without the heavy extension, she still had the thickest hair in 8th grade. The louder he cheered, the harder she swung, until suddenly her head felt lighter, like she had been transported into a real commercial where hair moved like it was submerged in water and felt luxuriously weightless. Ah! Alicia shouted, tripping on a chunk of red hair. She caught herself before falling, but still, everyone in the first row was laughing. Hey! Dylan Chow pointed at the ground. That's mine! You're dead, Alicia hissed, rotating her almost sprained ankle. Tired of fighting, Dylan burped, dead, right in Alicia's face. Not that it helped. Alicia gasped in disgust, then turned sharply, whipping Dylan's jaw with the bottom of her own ponytail. Despite the sudden sting, Dylan laughed, but only because Derek was waving. Dylan's smile waved back, noticing only after 15 solid seconds of non-stop waving that Derek was looking slightly past her, like a blind man on a date. That's when some really cute shit happens. On the bit. So, the rest of the girls go off to, well, Claire, Twizzler, and McNugget 1 go off to take care of. So, the press comes to go talk to Massey, so she's taken up with that. She gets up the stairs and she meets up with Derek, who's with this pretty girl with a bob. And the girl is like, oh my god, thank you for the birthday gifts. And she's like, oh, it's your sister. Yep. Hi, I'm Sammy. She offered her delicate right hand. Shake baby hand's hand. Hi, Dylan shook and giggled away her anxiety. Thanks for the 16 presents. She dangled her nail file keychain, proudly displaying the key of her new Mini Cooper. It was such a cute idea. The first thing I asked him was who thought of it. Darrington confirmed that with a nod. And what did he say? Dylan leaned closer to Sammy, overcome with the urge to lip kiss her in an I'm beyond excited you're related to him and not in a potential threat sort of way. But she managed to restrain herself from all physical contact. Don't need that part. Now that they were suddenly alone, Sammy's confession enveloped them. Oh, hold up. I guess I do have to read it. You win, God. He said, his side glanced at his brother, warning him that she was about to say something dangerous. Dylan's heart revved from joy to heart attack in like 1.5 seconds. Don't. Darrington limped towards Sammy. What? Dylan asked, pressing her lips into the palm of his red hoodie, holding him back. Pressing her palm into his red hoodie, holding him back. Sammy smiled slyly. He said his future girlfriend helped him. Did not. Derek whipped an empty cup of soda at his sister's head. She cackled and dodged it by an inch. Hey, I'll be in the parking lot in 3 minutes unless you want to hobble home. She warned. Oh, and nice meeting you, future girlfriend. Go! Derek lifted a bag of popcorn, but Sammy bolted before he could throw it. Now that they were suddenly alone, Sammy's confession enveloped them like a thick fart. It was too embarrassing to admit that they could smell it too pungent to pretend it wasn't there. Awkwardly, Dylan and Derek looked at their feet and cracked up like a bag of almost thrown popcorn was high-rolling comedy. The crowd was beginning to thin. Soon the photographers would be gone and Dylan and Massey would see them. Is it true? What? That I'm your future girlfriend. Dylan's moccasins jiggled as she shifted nervously. Oh my god, did you seriously just say that? No. The bell stopped. Everything stopped. What do you mean? Dylan squinted, trying to look confused instead of crushed. You're my current girlfriend. Motherfucker, you're so fucking cute. I love love, man. I'm just a dumbass sucker for love. For love. Cabo! On the field. Is that okay? On the field. Hold up. Dylan smiled, exhaling 13 years of insecurity. Is that okay? On the field, Massey was posing for cell phone pictures with a bunch of 7th graders. It was now or never. Dylan dared herself to look into Derek's brown eyes, double dared herself to step forward, and triple dog dared herself to lean in and lip kiss him. As if he could read her mind, Derek stuck his neck out like a rooster and pecked her on the mouth. It was quick, and their mouths were closed, but her heart leapt into her throat and beat like a victory drum. She had done it! They had done it! If Crush had been the name of the video game, Dylan would have just scored and moved up a level. Derek limped, turned halfway away, and wiggled his butt with glee. Did he do that after he kissed Massey? Or was that custom made just for me? Oh my god, Massey! Thankfully, the alpha was wrapping up her last album photo session and hadn't seen a thing, but someone else had. Alicia was grinning with satisfaction, waving her phone like a sinister comic book villain. Oh my god. Dylan checked her messages, her heart now beating with a funeral dirge. What is it? Derek asked with sincerity, like only a new boyfriend can. Nothing, Dylan mumbled, nervously clicking the photo Alicia had sent. An image of their lip kiss popped up onto the screen with a message that said, 1,000 gossip points for me. She can't, Dylan gasped, searching the field with wet-eyed urgency, but Alicia was already gone. Terrorism! Terrorism, girl! Alicia definitely did and sends the photo, and she's like, 1,000 gossip points for me, and it's like, terrorism. This is what happens when you are so beaten down by the system that you begin to enjoy the suffering of others because it is at least not the suffering of yourself. Am I losing my mind? Absolutely. Massey gets some Cinnabon and some popcorn to figure out how she's going to get this gossip out of the girls about Dempsey without looking desperate like the rest of the girls. So she's like, I'm going to get these snacks and we're going to play this game. It's Friday. It's time for the sleepover. You're going to go to Ryland Playland on Sunday with the boys. And Dune is also coming. Everyone's like, oh my god, Kirsten, you haven't lip kissed yet. What's up with that? And she's like, we haven't because I'm grounded, supposedly. And there's just like a whole lot. And Dylan has to lie about being C- crushless. And I'm like, oh my god, Claire, how many times did you lip kiss Cam? And she's like, 2. Dempsey and I will probably lip kiss after Ryland Playland. She interjected, sounding more certain than hopeful. The only reason we haven't done so is because he's so busy with soccer, and I've been so busy with... She suddenly stopped herself. Claire and Cam were in the same situation, and they still managed to see each other. Who's ready for my new game? Sit in a circle. The girls shimmied onto their sleeping bags and crossed their legs in their satin PJ-covered knees touching in a we're best friends kind of way. Make room. Massey grunted as she lowered a silver platter of Cinnabons and a crystal bowl of low-fat sodium popcorn in the middle. She pulled Bean onto her lap and joined them. This game is called Given or Not Given. The alpha announced, I invented it last night. Point? Alicia asked, sounding bored like someone who had never invented a game but wished she had. It's really just a veiled tactic, a way for me to gossip about my crush issues without coming off like an insecure LBR, Massey thought, but she'd sooner have gone bald than admit that. The point is we take turns asking each other questions, and if your answer is given, you get to eat the low-fat popcorn and say thin. But if it's not given, you have to eat the Cinnabon and get the opposite of thin. Shouldn't it be the other way around? Claire asked. You know, like the reward is Cinnabon and the punishment is popcorn? Agreed. Dylan giggled, high-fived Claire. Not unless you want to be fat in the hat all for Halloween. Massey rolled her eyes. Now let's start. If our answer is yes, we say given and eat Cinnabon. No, low-fat popcorn, Massey insisted. Watch, I'll start. She twirled her purple hair streak. I have a crush. The girl stared blankly at her. Well? The alpha widened her eyes, and they kept staring. Do you have a crush or not? She insisted, exasperating. Did you have to spell everything out for them? So that's the didabup. The didabup. They asked some questions. Dylan only slips up. She's actually going to have to lie and eat a lot of Cinnabon because, you know, she's got a crush, but she can't tell Massey. Massey is trying to get information, not give in, and so it's very tense. Tense, tense, tense. The tensiest of all tense. The toxicity of this sleepover and all the girls around. Massey is like, no one is having a fun time. Massey incorrectly pulls the information of Dylan that she has a crush on someone that Massey has already had, meaning that she must have a crush on Chris Aberley. Obviously not. It's not Chris Aberley, you know. Alicia's like, oh my god, I heard that Darrington has a new crush and she likes him back, and Josh saw them kissing, And Massey's like super ready for murder. She's like, well, that girl would be dead. So, sure hope I don't find her. The sickly sweet taste of Cinnabon began creeping up the back of Massey's throat. Source? She asked evenly. Josh. He saw them kissing. Who is it? Massey stopped pacing, but turned away from her friends to avoid their eyes. The only thing worse than humiliation was pity. He won't tell me, Alicia replied, but I know I can get it out of him if he really wants to. If I really want to. If I don't find out first, Massey hissed through clenched teeth. What are you going to do? Dylan twisted a clump of hair tightly around her finger. I'll start by putting crazy glue in her lip gloss. The girls giggled. Alicia cracked up. Dylan gulped. Everyone knows I marked him. Who would do that? Massey reached for a Cinnabon and took an angry bite. Wait. Claire lifted her hands in class. Was that the question? No. The game is over. Current state of the union. Find her and kill her. Out. Soccer. Enough said. So now it's Sunday. It's time to go to the amusement park in Ryland Playtown. It's Toronto Town. It's Toronto Town. It's Trauma Town. It's Trauma Town. It's time to go to Trauma Town, USA. So Massey's like, oh my god, let's be fashionably late. And Claire's like, what if we wait too long and they go in without us? So Lane, Twizzler, and McNugget, the rest of the Tomahawks, Dune, the boys are there. And obviously the pretty committee. Alicia and Claire. So Kirsten's got goosebumps, but you can't figure out if it's for Dune or Dempsey. Claire, Josh, Cam, and Alicia run off to go do couple stuff together. Dylan and Darrington get left behind by the rest of the group, which they end up going out to do stuff together all day. And we end up with the love triangle. With Massey, Dempsey, Lainey, Christian, and Dune. Let's get it going. Okay, so they're like, oh my god, let's go on this very specific ride, the Dragoneer. Dempsey wants to ride first. Dempsey gets in first. Lane gets in. Massey pulls her directly out. And pulls her out and gets into the seat, and she goes, you raggedy bitch. She doesn't call her raggedy bitch, but you're gonna pay. And then she scarfs down a falafel. Massey and Lane scurried to the front, each jockeying to secure a place beside him. Oof! Lainey stopped suddenly, the metal bar cutting across the top of her super high-waisted yellow jeans. You okay? Kirsten mumbled into the back of Lainey's head. Lane nodded, her flushed cheeks fading back to pale. She was grateful Lane tolerated their secret friendship, and even more grateful that she believed it was solely to preserve the Witty Committee rather than the real reason to preserve Kirsten's popularity. Dude, the log flew. So, they go off to do that. Also, we have to go back and discuss Dune. Crisp wind blew off the sound, stinging Kirsten's cheeks and tornado loneliness in her heart. Bitter cold days and dark afternoons were right around the corner, and with them always came the hollow feeling of emptiness. She lifted her hood and then smiled at Dune. Maybe this winter would be different. I can't believe she called that guy Twizzler, he whispered. Who? Kirsten asked, even though she knew. Dune lifted his chin and gestured towards Massey, who was up ahead with Dempsey and Lane. Why is she so mean? Asking the real questions. Kirsten debated whether giving him one of the following answers. 1. She thinks it's funny. B. Not 1. Sorry. A. She thinks it's funny. B. She feels better about herself when she puts other people down. C. Please. If she wasn't serious, where's your sense of humor? D. Get used to it. And E. Why do you hate her so much? God, can't you just stop being so judgmental and write all the time and just have some fun? I feel that. As a person who is nice and wants to be mean and an asshole sometimes, sometimes you gotta have the TikTok sound where it's like, who's being a bitch right now? And you gotta lean on in. But all Kirsten said was, I'll show you mean. Last one to the white fence outside the Dragon Coaster rides alone. And everyone took off in a mad dash. They're both embarrassing, honestly. Kirsten slid the shark tooth across a leather strap and tilted her head and nodded yes. You know, Dune flicked the necklace. I've never let anyone else wear that. Really? Kirsten grinned, waiting to feel that dipping roller coaster feeling in her stomach. Only it didn't come. The snaking dragon car hissed to a stop on the wooden tracks, and everyone raced for the front. Dempsey was in the lead until Lane pushed past Massey and grabbed the hood of his free Nelson Mandela tee. Stop choking him in his path. What are you doing? He pulled the cotton noose away from his thyroid. Did you drop this? She held out a crushed box of raisins. No, I think it's yours. He pointed to the pruny swag wedged in between her incisors. Incisors? Oh. Lainey picked it out with the corner of the box. You're right. She squeezed into the car beside him, but before she could sit, Massey yanked her out. Excuse me, Lane. Are you a fisherman? No, why? Then why are you cutting the line? She sat down beside Dempsey and lowered the black padded bar. Did you see that? Kirsten gasped from a few cars back. What? Dune ran his hand through his matted long hair. Nothing, mumbled Kirsten, unsure whether she was reacting to Massey's victory or Lane's defeat, or simply the realization that no matter how this ended, someone was going to be devastated. You stole my seat, Lane shouted, looking around for some sort of authority figure, but the person in charge was an 18-year-old boy with an eyebrow piercing, a shaved head, and a tattoo of Barack Obama on the back of his skull. A thick layer of stubble covered the president, making him look like a pubescent werewolf. Take the car behind him, the boy mumbled, guided Lane into the available seat. Any singles want to ride with her? Everyone in the line shook their head no. It's not fair. She stole my seat. The guy lowered the bar over her flailing arms and moved on. Lane kicked the back of Massey's seat. You are so dirty. But the alpha giggled at Dempsey, refusing to acknowledge her. Lane hate-tossed her raisins at the back of Massey's head. Fine with me. She pulled out a falafel sandwich out of her Sunshine Tours tote and jammed it into her mouth like a competitive eater. Enjoy the ride. You think he knows they're fighting over him? Kirsten whispered to Jim. If he does, he's playing it super cool. So back to Kirsten and her own problems is she's riding this ride with Dude and she doesn't even feel special. She doesn't feel good. He doesn't want to hold her to protect her like Dempsey is doing to Massey. He, wants her to get this adrenaline rush going. And it's like, that's not what I want. I want romance. This is so low shine. Oh my god. I'm just standing on the ride and it's so unromantic. It's crazy how I managed to do the same look almost a year later. That's crazy. So as they're coming through, they're on the ride and Kirsten's overthinking and kind of unpacking what the hell any of this means. Whew. Kirsten was about to check on Lane when everything went dark. The car shot into the tunnel, amplifying their screams and distorting their senses. Hold up. All of a sudden, a giant hand of sunshine smacked her in the eyes. Excuse me. The car was back outside, soaring and sinking over a series of mini hills. Up ahead, Lane was leaning forward, straining her head as if to tell Massey a secret. And then, like an unplugged fire hydrant, a rush of bile-soaked falafel sprayed from her mouth. Massey slumped forward like a hunchback, too disgusted to move. Finally, she tried to turn around, but the car whipped around the track so forcefully she got slammed against the side. Dempsey managed to ask Lane if she was okay. She replied with an enthusiastic head nod and 2 thumbs up. Kirsten smacked Dune's leg repeatedly to show him the spectacle, but he was standing again and didn't seem to notice. Finally, the car clicked back to a stop and everyone stopped screaming except Massey. I'm suing you! Sorry, I just feel awful. And Dempsey and Lane get to ride again because Pukers get to a free ride +1. Massey's pissed, and then Massey's mad at Kirsten. He lowered the wood lever, starting the ride. Pukers coast again +1. He shrugged. Park policy. Well, what do I get? What do you want? He raised his pierced eyebrows, implying himself. Ew, not that. Massey turned on her heel. There's gotta be something I can do To make you feel better, he rubbed his stubbly head. It's too late. Thanks to her. She pointed at Kirsten, then stormed off. He said fuck T.I. and fuck Lil Wayne. What did I do? Kirsten stood on the platform, stiff with shock. How had this become her fault? She could feel Dune's eyes on her, waiting for her to speak, searching for something to say, plotting Massey's demise. The car rolled back into the loading area. Oh, you waited for us? Lane gushed as Dempsey unwrapped himself from her protective hold. Kirsten tried to smile, her mouth twitching like a giant worm. What's wrong? Dempsey lifted the bar and stepped onto the platform. He placed a warm hand on her shoulder. You look like you just lost your best friend. She did, Dune chuckled with amusement, but Kirsten failed to see the humor. In fact, she failed to see anything. Her vision blurred instantly with tears. Dune's a dick. Dune's actually a little piece of shit. He's a little piece of shit. I don't like Dune. Choke on a dick, Dune. Oh my god. So, while Kirsten's having literally the worst park experience possible outside of getting vomited on, fucking Dylan's is on easy street. It was so cute for them. How she and Derek managed to lose the group the minute they got there. Oops! And how they laughed their way to stronger abs and fed each other snacks like Siamese twins joined at the mouth. They'd even ridden every ride twice. And they'd done it all without seeing Massey. Dylan felt like a lamp that had just gotten plugged in. The text was from him. She could just tell. So, main plot drama. Dylan has the best day out. Great for her. She's still smelling his arm from them holding hands, and his deodorant being on her arm. She doesn't want to smell it off too fast because it's going to get away from her. Derek texts her and is like, hey, you want to ride doubles to school tomorrow? And she's like, I can't. He's like, you want to have lunch at the trailer? She's like, I can't. He's like, do you not like me? She's like, you belong to Massey. And so I want you, but I can't have you. And so they do what they've always had before. One solution, 9 letters, detention. On Wednesday, they try and get detention by feeding the birds, which is strictly disallowed. But LBR, okay, so they try to get detention, but all it does is Derek keeps getting detention. Dylan keeps failing. They do something with cell phones, and he gets 2 days of detention, one for having a cell phone out at school, and the other for being in the main building when he's a portable kid. Dylan doesn't get any. On Wednesday, they try and get detention by feeding the birds, because that's strictly disallowed, but LBR, Strawberry, and Corey are outside, and they get accosted by the birds during the situation, and they end up being the ones that get detention. Well, now it's time for Plan C. At Plan C, Darrington starts a food fight. He attempts to hit Dylan, but he hits Massey, and Dylan's like, oh no, I threw the food, but it doesn't work well. So then all 3 of them get detention. And while they're cleaning up the area, Dylan doesn't have the confidence to be like, I'm going to go talk to Derek. So, because, she doesn't want to make Massey mad. And so she just pretends like she and Massey are the only ones there and that Derek isn't there. So he leaves directly after. And it's like, well, I gotta come up with a new plan. She can't, though, because Derek leaves right after school. And Massey's like, oh my god, he's so obsessed with me. He's so obsessed with me. Do you think he's gonna meet the new me? Massey asked as they shuffled towards her Range Rover. Dylan's stomach lurched at the thought. Maybe. Massey cocked her head and looked at the mud-covered sky, considering something. You've been spending a lot of time with him lately. All breathing stopped. This was it. The moment that would change everything. Dylan closed her eyes like she was about to get slapped. Did he mention anyone to you? Dylan exhaled with a gale of force. No. Massey laughed lightly to herself. I'd almost think it was you he was, into that sort of thing. Into what sort of thing? Dylan heard herself screech. Triple B. Huh? Big boned betas, Massey giggled. Dylan clenched her fist. She was seriously considering violence when something warm splattered on her head. Massey burst out laughing. Without another word, Dylan and her poo-soaked skull ran sobbing towards the bathroom. But that's what you do when you've been dumped on twice in a matter of seconds. Massey, you're a terrible person. Period, Pooh. Period. Okay, so it's October the 8th, and Massey is feeling terrible. Last year, we had the Christmas tree with no lights analogy, where she's so dazzling, but when no one's there to see it and she's not on, she's not sparkling, she feels terrible. So currently, we have a chocolate cupcake with icing. She's beautiful on the outside, but on the inside, she's crunchy and sugary and dry and crumbly, and mostly bitter. It was dry and crumbly, mostly bitter. Bitter because Kirsten hadn't helped her secure Dempsey. Bitter because Lane might actually have a chance. Bitter because Alicia was a better dancer and knew it. Bitter because Claire and Cam were the perfect couple. Bitter because Alicia and Josh were running a close second. Bitter because Darrington was moving on. Bitter because Alicia and Josh were running a close second. Bitter because Darrington was moving on. Bitter because her triple B's comment to Dylan had been triple mean. And bitter because she couldn't bring herself to apologize. She sees Derek smiling at Dylan, but she's also so focused on them that she messed up her cheer. Alicia's like, let's go, let's do it, let's get it started. She's like, why don't we do this one cheer? And Massey, just to be contrary, is like, no, let's do this other cheer. Oh, get him! She said, you filth monster garbage can man. Get out of this relationship. Darrington pulled himself up on the one leg and wiggled his butt in praise, and then again smiled. Again at her. Dylan, yes. Dylan responded with a flirty ponytail toss and a lower lip nibble. Normally, Massey would have suspected Dylan's smiles were misfires, the result of a lazy eye or an attempt to inspire jealousy, but they had been spending a lot of time together. Darrington was rumored to be with another girl, and they both thought burps were funny. And, come to think of it, Dylan was showing a lot of interest in Chanel 19 hold, or rather, its release. One more time, someone shouted, Alicia. And the Sockers were doing cleat feet again. Cleat! Cleat! On your feet! Who did Alicia think she was calling cheers? Sweat! On the net! Did Darrington really like Dylan? Was Cosmo wrong? Did boys like funny girls after all? Score! Oof. Alicia smashed into Massey. One more! Alicia yelled as they clapped. What were you going? Massey barked. Me? You've been in a total daze since the game started. We're coming apart. She knows that he's flirting with Dylan at this point. The girls are tripping over each other. Massey doesn't know. She's like, and then she steps back and she trips Dempsey, who, smashes right into her. So not only is he injured, but the ball is taken and the other team scores. The crowd starts screaming, boo, curse, curse. She's just like, I'm just going to keep cheering while he's injured. They have to cart Dempsey off on a stretcher. Uh-oh. Lane goes with him. Dempsey, she's like, oh my, Massey's like, if you go with him, you're off the squad, because she doesn't want him to be alone. Doesn't want Lane to be alone with Dempsey. She goes, whatever, I don't even care about the squad anyway. And then she leaves. Twizzler is like, I'm also off the squad now. She's embarrassed, and this crowd starts calling her a curse. She is at her girl boss worst. She's at the bottom of the girl boss pyramid. Oh, I don't know why I grabbed that. That's the wrong one. So, while watching the crowd, Kirsten watching from the crowd, she's dealing with Dune, and he's definitely on the mood to, kiss and progress the relationship. He's, flirting with her, but then Dempsey gets injured, and she's like, aw, aw, and he's like, oh my god, let's go back to your house to do homework together. Gently flirting with his fingers. So, maybe I should read this. from the book, but you know how I am about conflict. It stresses me out. So we are going to read my speed up version of it. They're like, we'll go and we'll study. Your mom won't have an issue with that. And what I can only describe as a series of truly unfortunate events is when she realizes that her necklace is missing. Dune realizes the necklace is missing and lies about it being Kirsten lies about it being missing, and then she comes across Lane. Lane is wearing the necklace she wants. To get the necklace back, she has to let her in and wait for Dempsey. Dempsey's parents wouldn't let her into the ambulance when they were going to the hospital. She's got to get well, get better, get well soon, candy kit. As they're sitting in there and Kirsten's trying to hide Lane and her necklace from Dune, Massey shows up with an even bigger get well soon kit. And again, this is not kissing Dune or studying, and the mom's there and everyone's fighting, and Lane feels guilty, feels hurt and abandoned by the Witty Committee, and how she never acknowledges them in power, and absolutely blows up Kirsten's spot about Massey. We're friends, didn't she tell you? She picked me over you for Dempsey. Dude is like, yeah, I don't like Dempsey. This is a lot to read, so we are going to get started and we're just going to run it. Oh my god, Massey jingle stomped her moccasin. Are you helping her get Dempsey? Kirsten tried again. Still nothing came out. Is she paying you? Massey screeched in disbelief. Kirsten searched Lane's face for an appropriate answer. Oh my god, she is paying you, Massey gasped. Seriously, Kirsten, how poor are you? Dune gasped in disbelief. Massey turned to him. What? Don't speak, don't speak, don't speak. Why would her best friend have to pay her? He asked innocently. No! I don't, Massey twirled her long ponytail extension. I was talking about Lane. So was I. They hung out all summer together, and from what I noticed, Kirsten has a lot more fun with Lane than she does with you, Assy. Yeah. Lane high-fived Dune. Really, how much fun is she having with you and with you? Massey turned to Kirsten, her cheeks burning red, her amber eyes were dark, and she was exhaling through her nose like a vengeful dragon. It was like watching a tropical thunderstorm gather force. Is it true? Kirsten swallowed back a mouthful of stress barf. What part? Massey stepped closer. Kirsten could smell her guava lip gloss. Have you been cheating on me? Yep, Lane announced with a maniacal pleasure. She sure has. You didn't know? Dune burst out laughing, gripping his stomach for effect. Massey glared at Kirsten, her moistening eyes speaking volumes. It's not like that, Kirsten pleaded. It's not, Lansburg? Because it kind of is. Lane! Dune kept laughing. Kirsten huffed at him, wishing he were still on the heart-shaped island. Have you been helping her get Dempsey? Yup, Lane announced again. Massey reached for the door, her hand shaking. Are you guys Mariah Carey song? Kirsten shook her head no, dreading the alpha's next words. Because you belong together. She opened the door and slammed it behind her. Christmas, Marcia called from the kitchen. Is someone here? Before Kirsten could answer, the door flew back open. Forgot my bag. Massey grabbed the handle of her suitcase. Oh, and this. She lifted the duplicated key and gouged a huge slit in Lane's cellophane wrapping. An avalanche of Wonka goodies spilled onto the parquet floor. Now we've both been stabbed. The door slammed for the last time. Christmas. No, Mom, Kirsten snapped. Lane dropped to her knees and began scooping up the candy. Can't believe you let her do that to me. You're blaming me? Kirsten began to tremble. And Dune, I can't believe you told her about me and Lane. Why? You should be allowed to have other friends. Yeah, Lane jammed a handful of gobstoppers into the basket. I was protecting the Witty Committee, she barked, no longer caring who knew what. You were not, Scott. Lane tugged the shark's tooth and stomped her gold high top. You were protecting yourself, she yelled, echoing Kirsten's exact thoughts from earlier that week. Lane scooped up her wounded basket with one hand and flipped Kirsten a sequins-covered bird with the other. It's been real. She opened the door. Real pointless. She slammed it shut. Christmas. It's okay, Mom. Hey. Hey! Doom pointed towards Holly. Was that my necklace? Kirsten nodded yes while tears rolled down her cheeks. You lied? She nodded. Lane, wait up, Doom called, slamming the door behind him. Christmas. Marcia hurried in the front from the kitchen. Are you sure everything's okay? Kirsten burst out into tears and then sobs and then howls. A giant snot bubble pulsed from her nose as she tried to breathe. Thankfully, two salmon-smelling mismatched oven mitts grabbed her and rocked her like everything was going to be okay, even though it wasn't. A little side note for Marcia Gregory. Kirsten has a full-on breakdown and cries. Her mother holds her. Her mom is a good mom. She loves her daughter very much. She's just protective. And honestly, these girls be dressing like whores, sluts, and strumpets. So maybe it's okay for her to be a little, wary and, cover your ass instead of wearing short shorts all the time. It is school, not a fashion show. Fashion is obviously self-expression, but it's very important that her mom makes sure her daughter is taken care of. And I think her mom is reasonable. So, Massey is in a fit of tears. She's leaving. She's been betrayed today. She's been so betrayed. And Isaac is trying to give her a little bit of an adult encouraging, you got this. It's okay. And it is just not. How do I still have 1, 2, 3 pages left? Shit, man. I'm only on page 10. But she's not in the mood to receive them. It's all sadness. She DMs Alicia, and Alicia's like, I'm doing homework. She knows Claire is studying with Cam. And she's like, what about pretty committee support day and night? So she's like, well, it doesn't matter. I'm going to Alicia's. If she's studying, that's fine. She's like super miserable. She's like gotten to the point when you start crying, where you start feeling unwell. So jingling along the flagstone path, Massey was feeling little and sad, almost flu-like. Her head throbbed, her eyes burned, and her stomach was closed for business. Swollen from crying, yet out of tears, she was driven by the primal need to be comforted by her best friend, to have a sorrow validated, to hear from someone other than Bean that Christian was two-faced, that Dempsey would never like Lane, and that in a billion years Alicia would never do anything that backstabbing to her. If Massey could just hear those things, her alpha spirit would soar once again, and Isaac would be right. Tomorrow would be a better day. Festive whooping from the song Live Your Life escaped through the windows of the garage-style dance studio. Alicia had obviously finished her homework, meaning she'd be able to focus 110% on Massey. Ignoring the Do Not Disturb sign, Massey thumb-pressed the iron handle, but the door was locked. Leash, she called over Rihanna's pitched, robotic voice, but the song was too loud. Leash! She slammed the heart-shaped knocker. The music stopped suddenly. The sound of feet scrambling across the wood floor was unmistakable. Surprise! Massey burst into the studio, her smile ready for a close-up. The curse! A girl shouted. 8 shocked faces glared back at her, but she only recognized one of them. Alicia stepped forward. What are you doing here? She was wearing a crisp white button-down, obviously, tucked into denim short shorts with red hearts on the pockets and matching metallic belt, just like the others. The invisible fist that had been gripping Massey's stomach all even reached up and grabbed her throat. Her soccer's uniforms, despite its cut aboveness, was obviously out. I thought you said she wasn't on the team, hissed the bony brunette in third position. What team? The new cheerleaders, offered a curly-headed blonde. The Hartnets. What? Massey's eyes begged Alicia to make this all go away. You can totally join if you want, Alicia tried. I'd love to have you. It's just that I'm sort of already the alpha. She shifted uncomfortably in her moccasins, which had tiny hearts dangling from the fringes instead of bells. Massey felt her pores contract. I don't mean the alpha in life, just in dance. You can totally be the alpha in life. I mean, I want you to be. It's just that I'm so into dancing, and I really like to try choreographing. She paused. Actually, if you wanted to be co-captain, you totally can. It'd be great. I'll deal with the routine, and you can deal with the shut up, please, Massey mumbled flatly. Huh? Massey seemed slightly taken aback. Alicia seemed slightly taken aback. But come on. Did she honestly think her little speech would make this Brad Pitt-sized betrayal hurt any less? The only thing it did was make Kirsten seem a tad less traumatizing. Alicia, is my name V? Massey asked loud enough for her teammates to hear. No. Then why would I follow you? She bolted into the cool night air, only beating her tears by a fraction of a second. Drama night, it's drama night, drama night, drama night, drama night, drama night, drama night, drama. Now we're back to Dylan. It's late at night after what, Massey said to her. She's supposed to be doing homework, but she's texting Derek. He asks her out, but she's like, oh, Fridays belong to the pretty committee. Then she takes a second. She's like, I'm gonna actually go ask my mom. I really like this section because there's a lot of characters in the story, and I feel like starting from It's Not Easy Being Mean, we expanded the universe. And we're finally, these people are people outside of how Massey views them. Marilee gives some pretty solid advice, and it's pretty witty. It's a pretty cute section. Let's run. In here, Dill Pickles. Dylan slid the frosted glass door open and stepped into what felt like a gardenia-scented disco ball. Every wall, cabinet, and appliance was made of mirror, right down to the custom toilet. It reflected Dylan from every angle, along with her mother, who unfortunately was naked, slipping into a bubble bath-filled tub. Out of pure desperation, Dylan perched on the edge next to a flickering pink candle. What's up? She mumbled like she was talking in her sleep. You know how you took Jennifer Aniston's side during her split with Brad? Marilee's green eyes popped open. Why? Is Angie's publicist here again? No. Dylan gestured for her mother to lie back down. I was just wondering if you would have taken her side if she told you she was over Brad before Brad hooked up with Angie. That's shameless, PR team. They're using you to get to me, aren't they? No, Mom, I swear. Dylan rolled her eyes, and frustration reflected across the bathroom from every angle. It's one of those moral type questions some friends were playing at school. I just wanted to see what you'd say. Oh, okay. Start over. Marilee inhaled deeply, ready to concentrate. Let's say Jennifer and Angie were best friends, and then Jennifer broke up with Brad, and then Angie started liking him. Would that be bad? Marilee rubbed sea salt on her arm while considering. Not as bad, I suppose. Why? What do you know? Do you have a source? No. I just wanted to know if sometimes it's okay to choose boys over your friends. If the boy is available. Marilee turned off the water. I don't think so. Dylan's heart nosed that. So you should choose your friend? No. The boy? Neither. Marilee shrugged as if it was all so simple. Huh? You shouldn't have to choose. A good friend wouldn't intimidate you, and a good guy wouldn't pressure you. Marilee lifted her wet hand and placed it on Dylan's knee. You deserve both. Thanks, Mom. Dylan kissed her mother's dark roots. Now she knew exactly what to text Derek. It wasn't going to be easy, but it would be right. So, as we're moving on, Kirsten, after the tears have dried, she's like, shit, I cannot sleep. So I might as well start trying to fix things. Everything's in a big plot pretzel. And it's like, where do you even start first? So she makes a list. 1. Get Dune to forgive her for lying about the necklace. 2. Get Massey to forgive her about lying about Lane. 3. Get Lane to forgive her for denying their friendship. 4. Get Massey to forgive her for not honoring the pledge. PC support day and night. 5. Get Lane to forgive her for not honoring the promise to help her get Dempsey. 6. To get Alicia to forgive her for ignoring her all night. 11. Missed calls. 7. Get Beckham to forgive her for keeping him up past his bedtime. So she emails Dune, Massey, and Lane, essentially saying, sorry, forgive me for what I've done. Massey, sorry I lied about being friends with Lane. I know you don't like her, and I didn't want you to be mad, which is funny, not in a haha funny way, in a haha traumatizing way. Ironic way. Because now you are. Also, I didn't help you get Dempsey or honor our pledge. I will start doing both tomorrow. Please forgive me. XO. K. Kirsten kissed the screen twice for extra like and hit send. Dune. Sorry I lied about the necklace. Didn't want you to know I lost it. Didn't know Lane found it. Please forgive me. XO. K. Lane. Sorry I didn't defend you in front of Massey. You know how she can be. Also, I didn't work harder to help you get Dempsey. I was trapped in the middle. We made a promise and I will honor it tomorrow. Please forgive me. Kirsten kissed the screen one last time and hit send. She had done everything she could right now. The only person left to contact was Dempsey and ask him straight up who he liked. But that would have to wait until morning. All the conversation his would have made the most sense to have via text or email. After all, asking a boy to choose between your best friends can be awkward. But for some reason, Kristen really wanted to see him. Or really wanted to see him when she asked. Or maybe she just wanted to see him. So, if you remember from the last time, Massey totally burnt down her friend group and was feeling very out of control. She listens to self-help books. So she's lying there on 184. She recaps all the adversities, self-imposed and otherwise, that she has traversed. Adversity was not new to her. In the last year, she had triumphed over clique crashers, cheating Spanish betas, unrequired crushes, a Spanish boy snatcher, lip kiss anxiety, a lost movie role, expulsion, an 8th grade alpha, a boy invasion, a class in a trailer, and a job in the Hamptons, 1 week in Kissimmee, and a boy fast. But this was different. She's laying there listening to self-help books until her iPod dies. She's taken some notes. Audiobook 1, How to Make People Like You in 90 Seconds or Less by Nicholas Bottom. Key points. The best way to make a person like you is to make yourself be like that person. Audiobook 2, 25 Ways to Win with People by John C. Markle and Les Pard, PhD. Key notes. Compliment people in front of others. Encourage their dreams. Audiobook 3, How to Get What You Want. Zig Ziglar. Key points. Set goals. And, it's really Massey's ethos, being a planner and all. She's just like, gotta write notes from this. And I have to, I have to, hack my way into people loving me. And, as a planner, I understand that it can be really hard to relinquish control. But I promise you, when you get older, it's, so much better to not have to do the emotional labor of regulating everyone else's choices and how they feel and what they do all the time. I promise you, off the top, in my heart of hearts, I know this to be true. But, Massey sends out a big group chat text to the girls. Dear Alicia, Claire, Dylan, and Kirsten, I understand why you strayed, and I forgive you. I'll forget the past if you will. Let's go back to the way things were. If you agree, which I know you will, show up for our regularly scheduled sleepover tomorrow night. We're closing the pool for winter. Let's crank the heat to 1,000 degrees and let's have one last dunk. See you then. It's gonna be hot. P.S. I won't be at school tomorrow because I hate bad sushi, but I'll be fine for the pool party. Don't be late. So, with the text sent morning, Kirsten has to get up and do all the stuff. She's waiting for texts from certain people. And this chapter was very tense. It's kind of very good tense. The other one was stressful, but this is tense. Because it's there are only 20 pages left. How are we going to wrap all this up in a way that's going to be good for everyone? Well, we're not. Because we don't have enough time for everything to get wrapped up and for everyone to say love. It's not going to happen. She gets up, she gets dressed, hobbles out to the elevator in which she traps Dempsey, breaking it down, but not enough for them to be in danger, just so that they have a couple of minutes alone together. So you want to play a game? He said, to the flashing emergency light. Yeah, it's called Who Would You Rather? I give you choices, and you tell me who you'd rather lip kiss. Okay, he asked as he was helping himself to another one of her potato chips. Kirsten wished she had the guts to come right out and ask him, but she didn't want to know the truth, not yet. Because no matter who he chose, one of her friends would get hurt, and she'd have to break it to them. Blair, he stated like it was obvious. He chose the brunette. That boded well for both Lane and Massey, though not Kirsten. Not that it mattered. Hilary Duff or Vanessa Hudgens. Hudgens, another brunette. Miss Dunkel or Principal Burns. Kirsten giggled at her own joke. Ugh. The flashing orange lights illuminated the numbers above their head, and the rhythm frenzied and anxious, just like Kirsten's heart. Still, she glared up pensively, as if pondering something utterly profound. One more question. How about, Blaine or, Massey? Seriously? He cocked his head in a do you really mean it sort of way. Kirsten nodded that she absolutely did. Her body buzzed with suspense. His answer would be life-changing. She wasn't sure how or for whom, just that it would be. Ew, Dempsey said flatly, eyeing his sock-covered foot. The elevator jolted suddenly, then began to descend. Ew? Kirsten heard herself screech. No, he lifted one of his crutches and poked her calf. You. She peered at the lenses of Dempsey's mirrored sunglasses, trying to picture Massey or Lane with a guy like him, but all Kirsten could see was herself. The elevator's doors opened too quickly, and there was Dune, standing there looking cozy cute in brown Hurley sweatshirt and a black wool cap, delicately faded jeans. He was holding a bouquet of crispy fall leaves, bound by a shark-tooth necklace, and his sweetest smile. She then is like, oh God, what do we do? Dempsey is like, oh God, well I guess I'm gonna leave because obviously your boyfriend's here and you're gonna ride Dempsey with him, or double with him. And she's like, he's like walking away and she's like, see you later. And he goes, that's it? She's like, yeah, because I mean that's earth shattering for an 8th grader. Also, I'm gonna have to check Google to tell me at this point, because I obviously don't know. When are these girls' birthdays? Were they all summer birthdays? We know that Massey is a Leo. But, like, my phone is definitely gonna die while I'm Googling. So she's about to pick Dune, and then she remembers Massey, and she's like, too many decisions. And her mom's already left, so she's like, bad sushi, and dips out. My God, my actual hair has gotten so long. Kirsten dropped the phone in her bag. She never felt more wanted and less happy about it in her entire life. What's she supposed to do now? A, pretend like she was a surfer who hated soccer and pretend she liked a surfer who hated soccer and called her friend OC Divas. B, pretend Lane still had a chance with Dempsey. C, pretend Massey still had a chance with Dempsey. D, pretend she and Dempsey never had that conversation of what him like trans fats. E, pretend she didn't feel the same way about him. F, pretend her own feelings didn't matter so everyone else could be happy. G, pretend she ever had a friend in the greater New York area again if she didn't choose A through E. H, pretend she also ate bad sushi and run upstairs, pretend under the covers and stay there until she could figure out what to do next. Without another word, Kirsten gripped her stomach and chose H. Like, and again, Dune doesn't even like her friends. It's not worth it to date someone who doesn't like your friends. If you are going to take anything from me personally, like person to person right now, is that you shouldn't date people, man, woman, non-binary, who doesn't like your friends. Because unlike family, friends are the people that you picked and they picked you. And given they're going to age and grow and change, and I think a partner who can say, hey, I think you're not the same person you were when you started hanging out with that person, but to find a person and then say, the people who make you the happiest are terrible, and by extension, you're kind of terrible for being like them and participating in the things that they do, is absolute dog shit, and you should be careful about that. That's all. I can feel my heartbeat in my ears. I got a lot of things to do. I'm a very stressed girly. So, we come back to Dylan. Dylan shows up at the Block's estate. She's ready to use the pool, and then Massey's like, why is Darrington here? She brought Darrington. What's Darrington doing here? This is girls only. The alpha hurried towards them. He invited me to a movie, but I wanted to hang out with you, so I brought him. Dylan managed, taming her bucking nerves like a seasoned jockey on a bucking bronco. Oh my god, no way. You're the girl he's been hanging out with? Why do you sound so surprised? Dylan snapped, refusing to be degraded for one more second. Because he likes me. Not anymore, Dylan stated evenly. Ladies, there's no need to fight over me. Derek tried to joke, but the girls were locked in a serious stare down. Please. That's like trading cashmere for Chanel. For Chanel. Chenille. Massey lifted her brow in a take that sort of way. Dylan's hands started to quake. Her breathing became choppy, and rage exploded from her like a compressed whitehead. I'm Chanel? If the size 8 fits, Massey smirked. Well, if I'm Chanel, then you're Lycra. How am I Lycra? Because you hold everyone back. Derek snickered. Massey's mouth dropped open like a shocked emoticon. It's true. You're control top pantyhose. Dylan began to spill like an uncontrollable diarrhea. The only way to find relief was to let it all out. You try to run everyone's lives and keep us all down so you stay on top. Opposite of, oh yeah? Dylan stepped forward, realizing for the first time that she was at least an inch taller than Massey. Then why wouldn't you let Alicia help choreograph? She was a much better dancer than you, and why don't you let us have friends outside the PC? And why won't you lift the hold on Darrington? Derek. Derek? Massey giggled. Yeah, that's his name. Yeah! He kicked a pebble into the pool for emphasis. Why would you want to be someone that immature? Why did you? Oh, so you only like him because I did? Hey, I'm not immature, Derek pouted. No, I like him because you don't, Dylan blurted. Then like a rainbow after a storm, everything around her felt magical. It was like a tingly, uplifting feeling that came with knowing that you were 100% right. If you still liked him, I would have stayed away, because I'm a good friend. But you're over him. You like Dempsey now. You told me, like 1,000,000,000 times, so what's the big deal? Massey inhaled deeply. So did you bring him to rub him in my face? No, I brought him so that you could remove the hold. She tilted her head towards the 25,000-gallon of water sitting beside them. Seriously? Massey's amber eyes darted from Dylan to Derek and then back to Dylan. Dylan nodded yes. Fine. Massey shrugged like she didn't care a bit. With a forceful push, she slapped her hands against Derek's bare back and shoved him in. Dylan was about to thank her when she felt the alpha body bump her right side of her body. Ah! She fell into the pool with a sloppy splash. Warm liquid filled her boots and saturated the fibers of her terry cloth tunic. No matter how hard she fought, the weight of the wardrobe was dragging her down. Sinking! She spat. Instantly, Derek was at her side, gripping her armpit. It was more romantic than Blair and Nate's season 1 aqua kiss. Happy? Massey peered down at them as they reached for the edge. The hold has been lifted. Now you're both free. Both? Dylan peeled a slop of red hair off her forehead. Yup. Massey put her hands on her hips. No more Lycra. Hang wherever. Get out of my pool. Now. Come on, Massey. Dylan hardly recognized the desperation in her voice. Let's just go. Massey turned away. My friends will be here any minute. Dylan's stomach lurched. She dipped her cheeks in the water to hide her tears. There was no point in appealing to Massey now. She was hurt and embarrassed, an explosive combination. Instead, Dylan stomped across the grass, dripping water and leaking tears, while Derek sloshed along beside her. Why can't I have both? She heard herself whimper once they were back on the dark lawn. Because maybe I'm all you need. Derek nudged her playfully. I'm all you need. Dylan sniff giggled and the tiny rainbow reappeared. Only this time, it was Derek, her brand new, adorable boyfriend. Who was right? Just as a recap. She goes to the mass, read it, and Massey does a lot of fat shaming. Dylan comes back with some good, sharp tongue. Like, that was her thing. She has the sharpest tongue in the 7th grade. She baptizes them both into the pool. They are no longer friends. Dylan is mostly hurt, But she also gets to hang out with Derek, and Derek likes her just the way she is. So they get to do something different. They get to be different and new now. So even though, my best friend tried to drown me, ex-best friend tried to drown me, at least I got a boyfriend out of it. Whew. So Massey is laying on the diving board looking very lonely afterwards. She's like, I'm just like Sleeping Beauty, and I have been wronged. Page 202. At 7:55 p.m., she had made a list of possible reasons why the universe had heralded Massey Block the victim of this unprecedented mighty social eclipse. By 8:02, she had completed the list. Reasons for the eclipse. God wants me to suffer so I can rise from the ashes to teach people how to overcome. Solution. Through prayer. Remind God that he already gave that job to Oprah and that she's doing great. Status. Completed at 8:13 p.m. Bean Block was a witness. See Smoothie Popper. Possible reasons for eclipse. Possible cell service outage kept Kirsten, Claire, and Alicia from getting my text invite. Call all service providers and investigate the outages in the tri-state area over the last 24 hours. Completed at 8:28 p.m. I never got pigeon pooped. Maybe it really is good luck. Place a spicy tuna roll on my shoulder to attract a pigeon, then hope for poop. Completed at 8:33 p.m. Removed roll when realized there are no pigeons at night, only bats. The soccer fans put a curse on me when they called me the curse. Ask housekeeper Inez how to remove it. She's amazing with stains. Then curse them back times 10. Must wait until the next soccer game. I really am Lycra, and now everyone's mad at me. Become an elastic waistband and give a little. No. So she has no tears left to cry. She's laying there on the side of the pool, and she just has to move on. I really like that in the last 30 pages of this book, it's like, I don't know how much longer. I don't know how much longer the Clique has. Obviously, I know that there are 1, 2, 3, 4 unread books at this point. So it's like, well, now we've reached the peak of our plot points. Like, our characters have reached their pit, and now they must come out of it. Obviously, in between every book, you have, you start off at point A, and then you move to point B, and then point B is the start of book 2, and then so on and so forth. But, throughout that general map of where people are moving, it's just like, we've reached the series is like, our characters are at their lowest low and the group is separated. You can hear my voice absolutely sprinting the opposite direction from me. Massey is sitting there. We have almost a complete 180 from book 1 at book 10, where Claire comes in with Cam. Claire dismisses Cam and is like, hey, bye, because Cam was having family game night with her. And then Claire's like, where is everybody? And they're like, nah. And they just hang out. And it's like, at the beginning of, maybe not at the beginning of this one, but at the end of Best Friends for Never. I don't know where this book sustained damage at. Massey does something, and Claire's like, oh my god, she never would have done that for me. And everyone's mad at her because they don't want her to be friends with them. Or I think it's actually at the beginning of Invasion of the Boy Snatchers that these two are now friends, and it's like, oh god, we don't even like her that much. And to this point now, the only person she has left is Claire. Once they were alone, Claire walked towards her slowly as if she might bite. You okay? Her blonde eyelashes fluttered with concern. Give in, Massey tightened her headscarf. Why? Well, never better, Massey lied. Cool. They grinned at each other the way people who are lying and know they're lying grin, their sheepish expressions communicating what their mouths were too embarrassed to say. How's the water? Claire asked. Massey half smiled. You tell me, she blurted, then shoved Claire into the pool. Claire's ill-fitting Tom Hop sweatshirt parachuted around her. You're dead. Ignoring the sad truth of the statement, Massey giggled and ran to the other side of the pool. Here Massey was, being chased by her only friend, a girl in an ill-fitting sweatshirt with unkept toenails, and she couldn't have felt more proud. She wasn't about to compromise her standards to be liked, not even for popularity. After all, wasn't that what Alicia, Kirsten, and Dylan had been doing all these years? And look at how happy it had made them. Instead, Massey untied her robe, whipped it playfully at Claire, and then jumped in the pool. "What are you doing?" Claire asked, still laughing. "Removing the hold on myself." Massey lifted her arms like the wings of a phoenix and shot down to the bottom of the pool. Everything was silent for the muted grumble of the pool filter and the bubble-filled vow to move on and start fresh. After all, she'd be picking a new clique on Monday. Hanging out, Claire can still hang out with Massey, and Claire comes in with Cam. Claire sends Cam out to wait for his brother to come pick him up, even though Claire and Cam are, lovey-dovey-wubby. And altogether, it's very clear that Claire can still hang out with Lane and it not be a big thing. Because Claire immediately set up boundaries. And honestly, this book and all the rules in this book, honestly, these books are Claire setting up very clear boundaries for her. Claire made Massey respect her and want to be friends with her, and the stipulation for being friends with her were very clearly laid out. The moral of the story is boundaries, crossing them, and what happens when you fully two-step crip walk all over your friends' boundaries. Stop treating them like they're whole people. Now, with only 2 people left in the pretty committee, Claire, which is wild to see how that group dynamic has changed. I'll see you in the next book, which, okay, book number 11. It's Boys R Us, which I already have all ready, so it's yellow. So I'll see you the end of December, early January for that. Vibes, yeah. Yeah. It's yellow! Oh my god. I'll see you in December for this book. I really liked... Holy shit, sorry. I really liked P.S. I Loathe You. This one was really good. Boys R Us, next book. This will be December's book, so I'll see you then. If you've forgotten, Bratfest at Tiffany's was our last book. And, yeah, we only have 3 unclaimed books left. Oh my god. Alright, so you can follow me on Instagram, maybe Twitter, who knows, I don't know. TikTok, Hive, Mastodon, at Megan_Blush_. Meow. 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 Yeah, I have an end card, so don't worry if you can't find me. I don't know why I say it like that. It's not like I have anything on that end card anymore, but I have an end card which has the videos that I kind of want you guys to see. I'll just be wrapping up my TV series. I'm gonna have to take a week because of scheduling issues. So I'm deeply sorry about that. It's just been a weird weekend. Yeah. Happy New Year's, guys. If you're like, oh my god, obviously You're the Clique is covering these books, but previously, because I don't know how to do things in order, never have, I covered the Alphas books, which is the sister series. There's actually like whatchamacallits in it. Excerpts from this book. In this book. So this book came out like in sequence to this and Boys R Us. So you can also check out my video covering this series from last year. I did them in the summer of last year in between Bachelor seasons, and it was so much fun that I continue to do this whole project. Yeah. Bye, guys. Baby hand! Baby hand, no!